The goal of this program is to help you install the automated fulfillment, client acquisition, and streamlined delegation systems you need in order to scale your business to 7 figures. One of the 3 big obstacles preventing you from scaling your coaching business to 7 figures is that you're stuck in fulfillment. In order to move past this obstacle, what you need to do is create an automated fulfillment system that helps you deliver amazing results to clients at scale. And one of the first steps you need to take in order to create this system is to niche down and zone in on the person you serve and the problem you help them solve. When you help one customer avatar with one problem, you don't need to endlessly customize deliverables. This allows you to create a standardized solution that you can offer to prospects at scale. Plus, being perceived as a specialist allows you to charge a premium price for that solution. See, the reason most coaches struggle to grow their businesses is because they begin with the what, the product or service, when in fact they should start with the who, the person they aim to serve and their problem. The person with a capital P refers to the specific person you want to serve. However, I'm not talking about picking a niche the way 99% of coaching businesses do it. Instead, I'm talking about going through a process I call hyper-niching in order to identify an underserved segment of the market where you can position your business as the only viable option for your person. Hyper-niching involves niching a level or more deeper than most coaching, consulting, and course creation businesses. For example, what you often see with marketing and sales coaches is they niche one level deep. They specialize in working with service providers or with SaaS companies or with e-commerce companies, etc. With hyper-niching, you niche down until you identify a specific person who has a problem that is its own underserved category within the larger red ocean where everyone else is competing. There you can become the category king, meaning the go-to choice in your narrowly defined category. To identify such a sub-niche, you need to go beyond basic categorization and you need to dive deeper into your person's psyche and their problem. Once you do that, you have a clear idea of exactly what they want and how to sell it to them. Importantly, when determining who you want to serve, you want to think of a single specific person. You might even give him or her a name to make them less abstract. Once you successfully get into the mind of your person and employ your understanding of their worldview in your messaging, they'll feel like you're talking specifically to them. As a side note, narrowing your messaging in this manner will not limit your reach. In fact, it will multiply it. The internet is vast and there are many others just like the specific person you'll be talking to. Once you nail your messaging so that it resonates with your person, the algorithms will start spreading your message to everyone who fits their psychographic and demographic profile. This is the secret to unlocking scale. By talking to one specific person with one specific problem, you can construct the perfect positioning. Ultimately, this allows you to productize your offerings and automate fulfillment because you don't have to customize deliverables. As a cool bonus, this way you also minimize the occurrence of taking on clients who are a bad fit. This reduces refunds and boosts client success and satisfaction rates, resulting in more positive testimonials and word-of-mouth referrals. This in turn accelerates the flywheel and boosts the growth of your business. It's important to note that as the business owner, you get to choose who you serve. Choose wisely. The worst thing you can do is build a successful business serving people you don't like. There's no one to save you from your misery by firing you since you're the boss. Remember that. You're going to be dealing with these individuals every single day in one form or another, so make sure you choose to serve people you like or at the very least people you don't hate. Choosing to serve people you like with problems you care about also brings meaning into your business. And if you find what you do meaningful, you're much more likely to stick through the hard times you're bound to encounter on your entrepreneurial journey. Finally, keep in mind that within the context of for-profit organizations, the person you choose to serve should be able to afford your offerings. If you want to help a particular group of underprivileged people, you would do better to treat it as a separate venture. Jonathan Goodman offers a good example. If you want to help improve dental hygiene in Africa, don't start a toothbrush company. Start a business that generates profit and then use that money to buy and donate toothbrushes to people in Africa. Once you've specified the person you want to work with, you need to dive deep into their problem. Problem with a capital P refers to the specific problem that is keeping your person up at night, staring at the ceiling, feeling stuck and unable to move forward. As the old marketing saying goes, if you can describe your prospect's problem better than they can, they assume you hold the solution. This is why you need to understand your person's problem inside out. The more painful the problem, the easier it is to sell your solution and the more you can charge for it. Additionally, you want to pick a problem that is hard or complex to solve. This leads people to seek outside assistance, and it also creates a barrier to entry for competitors. Ideally, you want to find a problem no one else seems to be talking about, as this will make you the category king or go-to solution provider. To do this, again, you want to dive deep into the issue your person is facing. To continue our marketing and sales coach example, if you only niche down to specializing in working with service providers, you're going to be competing with countless other solution providers. If instead you go through the process of hyper-niching and identify a sub-niche that is underserved, you can own that category. In other words, if you identify a problem no one else is specifically talking about, you can position yourself as the perfect and only known solution in your prospect's mind. Notice I said only known. As the great Dan Kennedy says, you don't need to be the only solution provider to their specific problem. You just need to be the only known one. To help illustrate this strategy, let's continue our example by looking at two sub-niches. Business coaching for web development companies making under $30K a month and business coaching for media buying agencies making over $30K a month. On the surface, these prospects might look the same to you. They're both service providers and they both want to make more money. But if you dig deeper, you'll find these business owners are two different people facing two different sets of challenges. The unestablished web development company's challenge is that they don't have enough leads and they don't have a consistent way of getting cost-effective leads. The established media buying agency's challenge, on the other hand, is likely that they lack the fulfillment systems to provide a quality service once client work stacks up. Thus, even though the end goal is the same for both, they want to make more money, these are actually two different prospects leading different lives, holding different beliefs, and experiencing different problems. This dictates that they need to be addressed with different messaging and need a different solution, at least in the way it's presented to them. To hook the attention of the owner of the unestablished web development company, you need to talk to them about how you can get them a consistent stream of cost-effective, qualified leads. You need to show them that you can help them get their calendar booked and their phone ringing. On the flip side, to hook the attention of the established media buying agency's owner, you need to talk to them about systemizing their fulfillment and setting up SOPs within their business so that they can actually handle more clients. And you need to talk to them about less time-consuming lead gen strategies like paid ads because they're maxed out on time when it comes to manual prospecting. Hopefully you can see how even though both prospects seem like very similar service providers looking to grow their businesses, the specific problem you've uncovered dictates the messaging is going to be different depending on what specific challenges your person is facing. This makes all the difference when it comes to generating qualified leads at scale and turning them into paying clients, because it dictates how you're going to get them interested and how you're going to position yourself in your products or services in relation to them and their problem. Now that you understand how zoning in on your person and their problem can help you become category king so that you can streamline your fulfillment, let's get started with figuring these things out for your business. Keep in mind, when doing these exercises, it may help to read through forums or talk to actual prospects or current clients to get a more realistic idea of their worldviews and their problem. First, I want you to pause this video and write a detailed description of your person. Who they are, what they do, what's their location, nationality, age, sex, relationship status, anything that you can think of that describes them. Write it down now. Next, I want you to do a simple exercise and ask yourself these three questions. Can I help them? Do I like them? Can they pay me? The answer needs to be yes to all three questions, otherwise keep refining your person until it is. Next, take a moment to write a detailed description of their problem. What is it exactly? Where does it stem from? In other words, what's the root cause? And what are the symptoms? In what ways is it showing up in your person's life? And what are the negative consequences that they're experiencing as a result? After you've defined your person and their problem, let's do a classic exercise and write down your I help statement. All you need to do is finish the statement I help person with problem so that they can result. Feel free to modify the statement by adding in the how, in other words, the unique mechanism that makes your solution work. In other words, I help person get result by unique mechanism. For example, for this program, mine would be I help ambitious marketing and sales coaches who are already making over $8,000 a month scale to $100,000 per month by installing paid acquisition and automated fulfillment systems in their businesses. Now pause the video and write down yours. Even if you don't place it in your social media accounts, it's a great exercise to help you get really clear on who you help and what you help them with. Next, I want you to take a moment to look at your person and write down their fears and frustrations, wants and aspirations. Frustrations are the things that they're emotionally struggling with right now, and fears are things that they worry will happen in the long run if nothing changes. Wants are things they wish happened right now, and aspirations are things they want to experience in the long term. Let's use this program as an example again. In terms of wants, marketing and sales coaches who are already making over $8,000 a month want to see their calendar booked full of sales appointments this week. In terms of aspirations, they want to scale to 7 figures within the next 6 to 12 months. In terms of frustrations, they might be frustrated that they're too busy right now coaching one-on-one, which leaves them no time to focus on growth activities. In terms of fears, they might worry that at this rate, them being stuck in fulfillment means they won't be able to move past their current income level, and they're actually having another child due to be born in 6 months, so they worry about how they're gonna handle one more mouth to feed while one of them is in maternity or paternity leave for some time. I just gave one example for each category, but I want you to take the time to go really deep with this exercise and write down at least a couple of fears, frustrations, wants and aspirations for your person. Pause the video and do it now. And finally, I want you to take a moment and write down what your person sees, hears, and does as it relates to their problem. What do they see in their business or in competitors, peers, and mentors? What do they hear at home from their spouse, at work, from their staff, from vendors and partners? And what do they do in order to solve their problem? What have they tried that hasn't worked too well? For example, they might see that everyone in their space is doing a challenge funnel. Or they might hear from their sales staff that their lead quality sucks. Or they might be doing AI email outreach in an attempt to get new clients, but it might not be working too well for them. Take a moment to write down what your person sees, hears, and does now. Alright, hopefully you've done all the exercises. As you see, putting all of this in writing is going to be super valuable because it will form the basis of your messaging and all of your sales copy moving forward. In order to create an automated fulfillment system that helps you deliver amazing results to clients at scale, one of the first steps we need to take is to help those of you who are currently doing one-on-one coaching transition to a scalable model that allows you to 10x your business without 10 times the work while still helping clients achieve life-changing results. If you're doing one-on-one coaching, what you've probably noticed is that clients get a lot of value from it, and that's great. But the one-on-one model also has one major downside. You can only work with so many clients in this hands-on manner, and this creates a cap on capacity that makes it impossible for you to scale. Well, worry not, for there is a way out that is win-win for both you and your clients. I'm talking about a scalable model that allows you to 10x your business without 10 times the work while still helping your clients achieve the same level of results or even better. So let's get into it. If you've done your homework, you probably already know that you should niche down and specialize in serving one type of client with one type of problem. As we've covered elsewhere, being perceived as a specialist allows you to charge a premium price, and niching down allows you to create a standardized solution that you can offer to prospects at scale. See, your clients essentially come to you because they're at point A, which signifies their current state, position, or situation, and they want to be at point B, which signifies their desired state or result. In order to create a business model that allows for scale, you need to be able to add additional clients to your program with marginal additional workload. Enter the one-to-many, aka group coaching model. This model is comprised of 3 pillars. The first pillar is content. See, if your clients are at point A and they want to be at point B, there are a set number of steps that they need to take in order to move from A to B. All you need to do is document these steps in the form of content that your clients get access to as part of your program. Each content piece should include the theory behind the step as well as the implementation piece where you tell them exactly what to do. The content pillar is best executed in video format. As a side note, if you worry that you're not good on video, don't worry because I've got you covered. In another module, I'll show you exactly how to film high quality, high impact video content even if you're brand new to it and you're not good on camera. Now, once your clients go through the content and implement each step, they should be at point B. I know you might be thinking, but Mit, what if they get stuck at a particular step and need my help as their coach? I'm glad you asked. This is why the second pillar of the model is group Q&A calls. You can do 1 or 2 Q&A calls per week that are scheduled for a specific time and day and happen every single week. On these calls, you simply help your clients with whatever step they're stuck at. I already hear you asking, but Mit, what if they can't make it to the call, or what if the call just passed and they don't want to wait until the next one? Well, luckily for them, you also implement the third pillar of the group coaching model, which is a community within a private Facebook group. There, they can tag you in a post whenever they need help, and you or your team will help them. This way, whenever stuff that you haven't covered within your content pops up in a question, you can address it, add it to your content, and also have it in the group for other members to use. Additionally, your other clients can chime in with advice and support, which creates a form of added value that one-on-one coaching does not offer. By implementing these 3 pillars, you can create a one-to-many coaching model that allows you to effectively help additional clients create the transformation they want. Since your pricing should be based on the transformation you help clients achieve, as opposed to the deliverables, you'll be able to charge premium prices. And at the same time, this model will allow you to give help whenever necessary without 10xing your workload. All of this will allow you to help more people, systemize the transformation process for better client results, add value by creating a community of peers, and make more money all at the same time. In other words, a massive win-win situation. Finally, if you still want to do one-on-one coaching calls, or you think that it is necessary due to the complexity of what you teach, you can do it on top of this model. You can charge a premium for your program and allow members to schedule ad hoc calls with you or your team whenever they get stuck so that you can help them with whatever they're struggling with one-on-one. Just make sure to set a limit to the number of calls each member has the right to schedule per week, and make sure they understand these calls are only for when they're actually struggling with something, and that the call's goal is to help fix the specific issue at hand. Now that you know how the group coaching model works, let's implement it within your business. If you've done one-on-one coaching until now, the very first step is to simply commit to transitioning to the one-to-many model. I know it's scary, but you need to believe in yourself and in your ability to make it work. Others have done it, and believe me, they're no smarter than you. So let's get started. First, you create your program's private Facebook group. Log into your Facebook account and head over to facebook.com/groups. To create the group, you need to come up with a name. The name should be related to the name of the specific coaching program you offer. When choosing a name, you can go by aspirational job description, for example, $1 Million Coach, which is Coach Taki Moore's group, or an aspirational descriptor plus unique mechanism like our very own 7-figure marketing and fulfillment systems. Just make sure the name isn't taken and that it's not too similar to a competitor's brand. Once you've done the above, click Create Group, input the name you've chosen, set the group to private, and click Create. Once your group is created, you can add a group cover image and the description. Also, go to settings and make it so that only admins can approve new members. Add some basic group rules that notify members not to spam, self-promote, or harass others. If you want to upload the program content that you create inside the group, click Add Features and turn on Learning Features. This will allow you to create guides comprised of posts where you can add videos and other materials. To ensure a smooth transition from one-on-one to group coaching, you can still keep working with your current clients one-on-one. What you can do so that you have some founding members in the group, so to speak, is to add those of them who fit your target market into the private Facebook group you create. Simply message them, "Hey, first name, I've created an exclusive Facebook group for my clients. We share advice, tools and insights for target market, looking to desired result, and I'd love for you to join us. Here's the link to the group, looking forward to seeing you inside." And that's it. Next, decide how many Q&A calls you're going to have per week, on what days and at what time. I suggest having between 1 and 2 group calls per week. What number you pick depends on your program's price point, your content's complexity, on how many people you have within your program, and what time zones your target market is in. The higher your price, the more it makes sense to justify it with 2 calls per week instead of 1. The more complex your content matter, the more questions people will have, so the more it makes sense to have 2 calls per week. The more people you have in the program, the more time it will take to answer all their questions, so you might need 2 calls to be able to get to everyone. And the more time zones you need to cover, the more it makes sense to have 2 calls instead of 1. What days you should have the Q&A calls on depends on your personal preference as well as what you think will work best for your people. If you choose to do 1 call per week, I would stay away from weekend days. Tuesdays work well. In case you choose to have 2 calls per week, if you're okay with working on the weekends and you believe some of your people wouldn't be able to make the calls during the week, you can consider having one of the calls on Sundays and the other during the week. If your people are business owners working for themselves or you don't want to do calls on weekends, you can keep calls on weekdays only, for example Tuesdays and Thursdays. In terms of deciding at what time to do the calls, this depends on your personal preference and on your target market's availability. For example, if you only work with people in the USA, you should pick a time that covers US time zones. If on the other hand you work with people from all over the world, it makes sense to have 2 calls so that you can cover some of the time zones on one and the rest on the other. Once you've decided how many Q&A calls you do, on what days and at what times, head over to Zoom or Google Meet, create an account and create a meeting link with a recurring meeting for each call. Generally, I suggest limiting Q&A calls to 90 minutes because it's hard to stay alert and effective after that point, so choose how long yours will be and schedule them. Finally, post the link to join the calls within your private Facebook group, along with the day and time of the recurring meetings and some ground rules. The ground rules should simply tell members that the purpose of the call is to answer questions and provide feedback on content covered in your program so that both the person asking the question and the rest of the people on the call get value and so that the conversation isn't sidetracked to an unrelated topic. When you show up on each Q&A call, wait for 5 minutes for everyone to show up, go over the ground rules quickly and invite people to leave a comment in the chat with #ask or something like that and their question. Then simply answer their questions, provide feedback and coach them. Make sure to sign up for a call recording tool like Fathom that automatically joins your calls and records them and upload the recordings in your private Facebook group in a dedicated guide. Once you do all of the above, you have the structure set for the 3 pillars of the one-to-many model. In another module, we'll create the actual content of your program. Once you've positioned yourself as category king and you've completed the necessary steps to set up your one-to-many program, the final step to creating an automated fulfillment system is to learn how to create high-impact content for your coaching program. High-impact content simply means content that not only informs your clients, but also guides them and moves them to take action. After all, if they don't actually do what you teach them, they won't get results. And if they don't get results, you're not going to get any success stories and both you and your clients will feel unsatisfied with the experience. So let's get into it. As discussed, all you do as a coach is help people move from point A, which is their current state, situation or position, to point B, which is their desired situation or result. Your program's job is simply to bridge the gap between point A and point B. Now, there are a set number of steps people need to make in order to move from A to B. As the expert in your field, all you need to do is break down these steps for your clients. Let's take this program as an example. It takes coaching businesses from 4 or 5 figure months all the way to 6 figure months and beyond. How? First, we get people to set up an automated fulfillment system so that they can actually fulfill on $100,000 in sales. We do this by helping them zone in on their person and their problem so that they can position themselves as category king and break through the noise and reach their target market with their message. Then we help them transition to a one-to-many model so that they can scale without fulfillment constraints. And then we help them create program content that both informs their clients and helps them take action so that they can actually get results. After that, we help them build a paid client acquisition system so that they can enroll clients in their program on command. We do this by setting up indoctrination and conversion processes, profitable paid traffic campaigns, and a proven sales process. And finally, we help them create a streamlined delegation system by finding their dream team and setting up easy-to-follow SOPs and an effortless task management system. Once a coaching business has gone through these steps, hitting six-figure months is a matter of time and iteration. So as the expert in your field, you need to break down the journey from point A to point B for your people. From there, each step simply becomes a module in your program. Each module is essentially a video covering the theory behind the step plus an implementation segment where you tell your clients exactly what to do. Now, let's dive deeper into the structure of a module so that you can learn how to create the modules for your program with ease. A simple model you can use when creating modules for your program is the intro, why, what, how, and then model. Simply start off the module with a short intro regarding what the video is about. Then address the question, why is what you're about to cover important? After that, explain what the principle or whatever you teach in this module actually is. Then explain how it works, and finally go into the implementation part where you tell your clients exactly what to do next step by step. Let's use the one-to-many module in this program as an example. First, I start off that module with a short intro telling you we're going to cover the next step in creating an automated fulfillment system, which is the one-to-many model. Then I tell you why it's important. Doing one-on-one coaching creates a cap on capacity, thus switching to a one-to-many model will allow you to scale while still providing amazing value to clients. Then I cover what the model is and how it works. And finally, I go into the implementation part where I tell you exactly what to do to set up the one-to-many model within your business step by step. See how simple this is? Once you break down your ideal client's journey from A to B into steps and you create a module for each step, you will have a complete program. Now, as I've mentioned elsewhere, I find that the best medium for your modules is video. Different people learn best through different mediums, and with video you cover visual learners, but also audio learners, and you can also include the transcript of the video to cover text learners as well. So how do you go about actually creating each module? First, I'll share the 10,000 feet overview of how I do it, and then we'll cover the details. So the 10,000 feet overview is the following. First, I write the script for the module in text. Then I record a video where I simply read the script word for word from a cheap teleprompter I got on eBay. If you're good on camera, you can also prepare talking points instead of a full-blown script. Then I get the video edited, and that's it. I've got an entire module done. Now that you've got the 10,000 feet overview, let me quickly share the details. I write the script for each module in Google Docs. Then I download the script on an old smartphone that I attach to the teleprompter. I use a free smartphone app called Parrot for the teleprompter so that I can read the script off my phone and use the teleprompter's Bluetooth remote control to connect to the smartphone and scroll up and down the script. The phone and the camera are attached to the teleprompter, and the teleprompter is set up on a tripod. I use a very old camera, the Canon EOS 750D. It does the job, so I just haven't updated it. I use a Boya lavalier microphone that I clip on my shirt, and I plug it into the same phone I use for the teleprompter. I use the default app to record audio. In post-production, I use that audio because it's cleaner, but you can also plug a mic directly into the camera depending on your mic and camera so that you don't have to do this in post-production. Then I darken the room where I shoot to remove outside light. I have one key light around 60 degrees to the left of me. It's a super cheap softbox from eBay. And I have two lights, a red one and a blue one behind me, covering the background. This is optional. If you want to blur the background, make sure there's 2 or 3 times more space between you and the background than there is between you and the camera, and use a lens with aperture below 1.8. 1.4 is good and 1.2 is even better. Once everything is set up, I click record on the audio recording app and on the camera, and I record the video by reading through the script. If I make a mistake, I start the sentence again and I cut the parts I got wrong during post-production, aka during editing. And that's it. You can get a video editor, delegation saves you time, a topic we'll discuss later on in the program, or you can edit the videos yourself with a free, easy-to-use tool like CapCut or something more advanced like Adobe Premiere Pro. Do this for all of your modules and your program's content will be ready. Once you've got your content ready, all you need to do is decide where to host it. The easiest option is to upload it in your program's private Facebook group as a guide. A slightly more complex option is to create a membership site using Kajabi, High Level, School, WordPress or something like that. Kajabi is going to be easier but more expensive, WordPress is going to be harder but cheaper. Use whatever you prefer and keep in mind you can hire someone to create the membership site for you on Upwork. So now that you know how to create high-impact content for your coaching program, let's start implementing what you've learned in this module in your business. First, pause this video and look back at your research from previous modules regarding your client's current situation and their desired result, aka point A and point B. Then, simply break down your customer avatar's journey from A to B in steps. Next, decide where you host your program's content. If it's going to be in your private Facebook group, you can move forward. If it's going to be in a membership site, decide what software you use and get it started. Now, here comes the real work. You need to create a video module for each step. This is going to take a while. This is why what I suggest you do is a soft launch once the first few modules are ready. As you sign up people for your program, simply tell them you'll be releasing a new module each week until they're all released. It's always a good idea to start off with an MVP, a minimum viable product. This way, you can always add more content or redo modules later on once you've validated your program and you've received some client feedback. And finally, what I suggest you do is spend half the time you've allotted for this program on working on all of the above until it's finished and the other half on continuing with the next modules. I'm sure, just like me, a lot of you are perfectionists and I do not want you to get stuck here and lose momentum. So spend half your time on creating your program until it's finished, but spend the other half on building your paid client acquisition system so that you actually have someone to sell your program to when your MVP is ready. Once you've set up your automated fulfillment system so that you can fulfill on $100,000 in sales and beyond, it's time to set up your paid client acquisition system so that you can fill your pipeline with leads on command and convert them into paying clients. And the first step to all of this is setting up indoctrination and conversion processes in your business. The goal of these processes is to take the people who enter your world via organic, paid and partner sources through the buyer's journey as quickly and efficiently as possible. The buyer's journey is a model that divides prospects into 4 stages: unawareness, awareness, consideration, and decision. People who are unaware start noticing the symptoms of a problem, but they're not yet aware of the exact problem they have. People in the awareness stage are problem aware. They know they have a problem and they want it fixed, but they don't know of any solutions out there. People in the consideration stage are solution aware. They're researching different solutions to their problem. And people in the decision stage are provider aware. They've chosen a specific type of solution and they're researching different solution providers in order to decide who to work with. Again, the people entering your world through organic, paid and partner sources might be in any of these stages, which is why you need to have indoctrination and conversion processes to take them from awareness to decision as quickly and efficiently as possible, while making them like and trust you so that when they do reach that decision stage, you're the obvious choice to work with. On the practical level, your indoctrination and conversion processes are realized through marketing and sales funnels, content, and email and chat. See, client acquisition is a lot like dating. Converting a prospect into a paying client is similar to the process of getting into a committed romantic relationship. Just as you wouldn't ask someone to marry you on your first date, you should avoid asking prospects for a big sale the minute they learn you even exist. Instead, some process of seduction needs to occur. This is where marketing and sales funnels come in. They are systems designed to attract your person's attention, capture their contact information, indoctrinate them, convert them into paying clients, retain them, and even offer them additional assistance in the form of other products and services you might offer. This process is gradual and deliberate, much like the stages of a romantic relationship where you start talking, then go on dates, become a couple, commit to a serious relationship, move in together, and eventually get married and possibly start a family. Therefore, it's essential to establish marketing and sales funnels that provide a smooth, efficient process that guides your prospect through the stages of the relationship with your business. These mainly include acquisition funnels and ascension funnels. The goal of ascension funnels is to sell your high-ticket coaching programs like the one we designed earlier, while the goal of acquisition funnels is to acquire new buyer leads for your business through low-ticket offers at break-even or a small profit. Now, don't worry. To scale to 7 figures, your business probably only needs an ascension funnel, but we will also cover acquisition funnels for those of you who are after rapid scale and 8-figure results. Another crucial element of your indoctrination and conversion processes is educating prospects while controlling the narrative and shifting beliefs in their minds in order to help them take action. This involves teaching on the logical level while simultaneously challenging any negative or limiting beliefs they may have on an emotional or subconscious level and suggesting positive and empowering replacements that support their desire to solve their problem with your coaching. This is what your content pieces aim to achieve, including your free content like text, images, and video posts, as well as paid content like ebooks, courses, etc. And finally, email and chat allow you to follow up with prospects continuously and even have a two-way conversation where you can help them move through the buyer's journey quicker and invite them to take the next step in their relationship with your business. Next, we'll cover all of these elements in dedicated modules. I can already hear you asking, but Mit, why are we covering the back end, aka ascension funnels now? Shouldn't I focus on building the front end, aka acquisition funnels first? In most cases, the answer is no. Acquisition funnels require considerable time and effort to build, along with a proven understanding of your person, problem, and positioning. Additionally, they may require substantial monetary investment to optimize in case you don't nail them on your first try. And once they're successful, they still only get you to break even or a small profit. You need an ascension funnel already in place in order to monetize the buyer leads that you generate through your acquisition funnels. That's why it's important to build a solid ascension funnel first. Not only will it help you generate profit from the get-go, but also it will allow you to get to know your person and their problem intimately through sales calls and client calls so that you can craft the perfect positioning and set up a successful acquisition funnel later. So what is an ascension funnel? Well, it's the bread and butter of your coaching business. The goal of an ascension funnel is to help you sell your high-ticket offers like the one we designed earlier. This is where the money is made. The general structure of the ascension funnel includes an optional opt-in page where you offer some form of value related to your person's problem and ask them to submit their contact information in order to get access. Once they do, they're directed to a sales page featuring a conversion mechanism. This can be a text or video sales letter, aka a TSL or a VSL, or a webinar. What I like to do if I include an opt-in page is to make the TSL or VSL the thing they opt in for, because this makes it more likely for prospects to consume it. Whether it's worth it to include an opt-in page depends on your opt-in rate, how good your follow-up is, and what your ad costs are. If you have an opt-in page, you'll gather the contact info of prospects, which means you can follow up with them. On the other hand, this way less people will reach your TSL or VSL page, so it's a trade-off that's honestly hard to assess until you actually do a split test. What I am gonna say is lately a lot of people have started omitting the opt-in page and relying on retargeting ads to get unconverted prospects back into their funnel. Needless to say, if you run an evergreen webinar, you need an opt-in. If you haven't done webinars until now, I suggest you stick to a TSL or a VSL because it's easier and it's a lot less pressure. Neither VSLs nor webinars are anything new, so their effectiveness as conversion mechanisms is going to depend on their actual content, not so much on the specific format. The purpose of a conversion mechanism like a TSL, VSL, or webinar within the Ascension funnel is to engage your person by talking about their problem, to break limiting beliefs, to present the unique mechanism that makes your solution work, and to persuade them to take a specific action, in this case to book a call or enroll in a program. Once prospects consume your TSL, VSL, or webinar, if they're interested and they click through to the next page, they'll be directed to a calendar scheduling page where they can sign up for a free consultation call, in other words a sales call, where you can determine if they're a good fit for your coaching program and invite them to enroll. After that, they land on a thank you page where you generally want to show them testimonials and hype them up for the call to increase show-up rate. If you're selling something on the lower end of the high-ticket price range, which as of now would be around $2,000 to $2,500, you may lead people directly to a sales page where they can purchase access directly instead of a call scheduling page. However, in most cases you should do that once you're confident you've nailed your messaging and your offer by doing sales calls, because your conversion mechanism and your other indoctrination and conversion processes need to really be dialed in to sell a program directly on a sales page. Here's an example of an Ascension funnel that we built selling a $9,800 offer for a client of the agency I co-founded back in the day. Right now, I just want you to see the structure, not so much the content. It starts with a standard opt-in page where we offer our ideal clients something they would be interested in. Once they submit their info, they land on a VSL page that talks about their problem and its solution and sells them on the idea of booking a free consultation call. If they're interested, they click the button and they land on a page with an embedded calendar where they can book a call. And once they schedule their call, they land on a thank you page where we show them testimonials and hype them up for the call to increase the show-up rate. And that's it. Ascension funnels are fairly simple and they work. Now, I can't stress enough that the key to making this work is not in the pages, but rather in the message you place there. If you know your person and their problem really well, and you position yourself as the one who holds the perfect solution, you will get great results. So now that you know what an Ascension funnel is and how it works, let's start creating yours. First, I want you to go through the market research you did on your person, problem, and positioning. It will serve as the basis of your funnel. Once you've put up your market research, you can start creating the script, in other words, the copy for your text or video sales letter or webinar, or you can hire a copywriter to do it for you on Upwork. Here we'll focus on TSLs and VSLs since they're easier to get right and simpler to set up, but if you've done a lot of webinars already and you've had success with them, you can certainly do that too. For everyone else, next it's time to choose whether you're going to do a TSL or a VSL. Honestly, this depends on your target market and on how good you are on video. If your target market consumes a lot of video, do video. If they prefer text, then do text. This is why market research is so important. In case you're writing the copy for your TSL or VSL yourself, as opposed to hiring a copywriter, there are different frameworks you can use to do so, but I'll share the one I use most often. It all starts with the lead. When it comes to creating a successful conversion mechanism, the lead is one of the most important elements because it's what grabs your person's attention and gets them to consume the rest of the TSL or VSL. A strong lead is essential because it sets the tone for the rest of your conversion mechanism. In the beginning of your lead, you can optionally employ a strategy called a pattern interrupt. It involves grabbing your prospect's attention right away with something unexpected or intriguing. This could be a surprising statement, a provocative question, or an intriguing image or video clip. The purpose is to anchor your prospect's attention. If they're not reading or watching attentively, you can't sell to them. Once you have your person's attention, you need to call them out and make them feel like you understand their problem. By doing this, you establish both a logical and an emotional connection with them, which is key to engaging them and keeping them interested. Next, you need to describe their problem in a way that resonates with them. This means zoning in on their pain points and communicating them in a way that makes your person feel like you truly understand their struggles. Remember, if you can describe their problem better than they can, they assume you hold the solution to it. Once you do that, you need to communicate upfront that you in fact have the solution to their problem. This is where you make your marketing claim. Tell them what you can help them achieve and be specific. Briefly touch on the unique mechanism of your offer, the unique thing that makes your solution work. Next, it's time to introduce yourself. At this point, you've made a claim that you hold the solution to the problem that keeps your person up at night. They've probably struggled with the symptoms of this problem for a long time, and a lot of them have likely tried all sorts of solutions, so they're naturally skeptical of your claims. This is where you introduce yourself and briefly explain that you've solved the problem they're struggling with for yourself or for your clients, followed by how you got here. Next, it's time to tell a story. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools for indoctrinating prospects and for breaking negative beliefs and replacing them with positive ones, because it allows you to convey your message in a relatable and memorable way. When you tell a story, you're engaging both the logical and the emotional parts of your prospect's brain, which makes your message more persuasive and impactful. To effectively use storytelling in your marketing, you need to understand your person's pain points, fears and frustrations, wants and aspirations, and tell a story that speaks to them directly. Your story should be authentic, compelling, and demonstrate how your product or service can help your person overcome their challenges and achieve their goals. And again, you need to know who you're talking to. What I've noticed over the last few years is that storytelling still works great for B2C markets, but its effectiveness has lessened in B2B markets. And the reason is prospects know what you're doing if you do it in an unskillful or obvious way. So if you're in a B2B market or another mature market, consider shortening the story and make sure that it sounds authentic and that you show proof. And this is key because trust is low in B2B markets where a lot of prospects are at the stage of informed pessimism. They're fairly knowledgeable in the field and they've tried a lot of stuff that hasn't worked, so trust is low and you need to back up your claims. Finally, your story can be about you, but it can also be about a successful client of yours or of someone else who either had success with the solution you present or whose story supports what you want to make your prospects believe. So let's get started with crafting the story. You want to tell the story of how you or the hero of the story developed mastery in the field and achieved the very outcome your person wishes to achieve. To connect with your person where they are, you need to share not only the outcomes at the end of the journey, but also the challenges the hero had to overcome to get there. The framework for telling a compelling transformation story is as old as the world itself, and it's perfectly articulated by author Joseph Campbell in his book The Hero with 1,000 Faces. The hero's journey framework goes as follows. The first stage is called the ordinary world. It represents the hero's starting point, their everyday life before embarking on the adventure. In the context of writing the sales copy for your conversion mechanism, the ordinary world is where you introduce your prospect to your life before your transformation or to your hero's life before theirs in case you're telling a story about someone else. This is where you describe the struggles, doubts, fears and frustrations you experienced before discovering the solution to the very problem that your person is also facing. The goal of this stage is to establish a relatable and authentic connection with your person. By sharing your story, you want to convey that you understand their pain and that you've been in their shoes before. You want to create a feeling of empathy and trust. To describe your ordinary world, use vivid and descriptive language that paints a clear picture of your circumstances. This helps the prospect immerse themselves in the story, making it more likely for them to stick till the end and hear your pitch. Share the specific details of your struggles and the emotions you experienced during that time. The more specific and relatable your story is, the easier it will be for your person to connect with you and your journey. The second stage of the hero's journey framework is the call to adventure. This is where the hero is presented with a challenge or opportunity that sets them on their journey toward achieving the ultimate outcome your prospect is also after. In the context of writing sales copy, the call to adventure is the point where you encounter a specific challenge or obstacle that motivates you to take action toward achieving your goal. For example, you may have encountered a challenge or an obstacle in your personal or professional life that led you to seek out a solution. This could have been a frustration with the status quo, a desire for something more, or a realization that you needed to change in order to achieve your desired outcome. In your sales copy, it's important to clearly describe the problem that you faced and how it impacted your life. This helps your person connect with you on a more intimate level and understand why your story is relevant to their own struggles. Additionally, you need to create a sense of urgency and importance around the call to adventure. This could involve describing the consequences of not taking action or the potential rewards of successfully overcoming the challenge. By creating a compelling reason for your person to take action, you can motivate them to continue reading or listening to your story and consider your solution as a potential way to achieve their own goal. The next stage in the framework is the refusal. After receiving the call to adventure, the hero often feels reluctant to embark on the journey. This reluctance could stem from fear of failure or fear of the unknown and leaving behind what is familiar and comfortable. In the context of writing sales copy, the refusal stage is often the moment you realize something needed to change in your life, but you were hesitant to take action. For example, this could be a specific moment when you were unhappy with your job or your business was struggling, but you were unsure of what steps to take next. You may have been afraid of the risks involved in making a change or worried about what others would think of you. This reluctance is a relatable experience for many people, and acknowledging it in your sales copy can help your person identify with your story. In this stage, it's important to show how you overcame your reluctance and what made you finally decide to embark on the journey. This could be the moment you realized that the pain of staying the same was greater than the fear of changing. Sharing this turning point in your story can help your person see that change is possible and that they too can overcome their own reluctance to take action and pursue their goal. After refusing the call to adventure, the hero often meets a mentor, guide, or something else that helps them overcome their fear and self-doubt. This can be a person, a book, a sign, or even an event that helps the hero take the first step on their journey. In your sales copy, the mentor could be the person who inspired or helped you develop your skills, or the book that provided the knowledge that led to your success. The mentor's role is to provide the hero with the tools and knowledge necessary to overcome the obstacles they will face on their journey. In the context of your story, meeting the mentor could be a pivotal moment in your life where you met someone who provided guidance and support that helped you develop your skills or overcome a major obstacle. This could be a teacher, a mentor, a family member, or even a stranger who provided valuable advice. When writing copy, it's important to highlight the mentor's role and how their guidance helped you achieve your goal. If your prospect sees that you had help along the way and you didn't achieve success entirely on your own, this can help suggest the belief in their mind that finding a coach is important, which would make selling coaching to them a lot easier, wouldn't it? The next stage in the framework is called crossing the threshold. After meeting the mentor and receiving guidance, the hero must now make a decision to leave their ordinary world and embark on their journey. This is a crucial point in the hero's journey. For your person, this is the point where they need to take action and make a commitment to change their current situation. By describing the decisiveness of the hero in your story, you can show your person that they too need to take a leap of faith to pursue their goal. In your story, this could be a big decision like finally quitting your job to start your own business, or a small decision like signing up for a course or program to learn a new skill. You can use this point in your story to show your person that you understand the fear and uncertainty that comes with making a big change, but also that you had the courage and determination to push through it. This will inspire your person to take action and follow in your footsteps. This is also where you start to position yourself as a guide and expert, offering your knowledge and support to help your person on their journey. The next stage in the framework is called tests, allies, and enemies. This stage of the journey is where the hero faces a series of challenges, meets allies and enemies, and learns more about the world they are in. In the context of writing sales copy, this stage is where you can show the struggles you faced on your journey to becoming successful. These struggles could include failures, setbacks, and obstacles that you had to overcome. By sharing your challenges, you can connect with your person and demonstrate that you understand what they're going through. At this stage, it's also important to introduce any allies who helped you along the way. These could be people who provided you with support, guidance, or resources that helped you overcome your challenges. By including these individuals in your story, you can again convey to your person that they don't have to go through their own journey alone. In addition to allies, it's super important to introduce any enemies or obstacles you faced. These could be people, systems, and especially beliefs that held you back or made your journey more difficult. By sharing these challenges, you can show your person that you understand the obstacles they may be facing and that you have the experience and the knowledge to help them overcome them. The next stage is called the approach to the inmost cave. At this stage, the hero has passed the point of no return and is fully committed to their quest. They have faced and overcome obstacles and are now approaching the most dangerous part of their journey. This is the setup for the point where they must confront their biggest fear or challenge. The approach to the inmost cave is an opportunity to build tension and excitement in your story. Make sure to use vivid language and descriptive detail to create a sense of anticipation and convey the gravity of the situation. Ultimately, this stage should lead to the climax of your story where you overcome the obstacle and achieve your desired outcome. The next stage is the ordeal itself. This is the most significant challenge that the hero must face in order to achieve their ultimate goal. It is the moment of greatest tension in the story, and it can often involve a physical or psychological battle. Now, in the context of writing sales copy, the ordeal is the moment where you face a significant challenge or obstacle on your journey toward achieving your goals. This could be a personal challenge, such as overcoming a fear or insecurity, or it can be a business challenge, such as facing a major setback or failure. In order to make this part of your story compelling, it's important to describe the challenge in detail and highlight the emotions you were feeling at the time. You should also describe the specific actions you took to overcome the challenge. For example, if you were in the initial stages of a business and you faced a major setback, such as losing an important client that brought in 60% of your company's revenue, you could describe how the setback initially made you feel defeated and hopeless. You can then describe how you regrouped and came up with a new strategy to replace that lost revenue source and how you ultimately grew your business to be bigger and more robust than before. This would help to build trust and credibility with your prospect. The next stage in the hero's journey framework is often referred to as the reward or seizing the sword. At this stage, the hero has overcome their ordeal and has received the prize or boon that they were seeking. In terms of crafting compelling sales copy, the reward stage is where you highlight the breakthrough or major achievement that you experienced in your journey and the lessons that came from it. This is the point in the story where you can showcase how your skills, knowledge, or experience have led to a significant accomplishment. The reward stage is an opportunity to show your audience what's possible when they follow in your footsteps. It's a chance to demonstrate the value of the knowledge or expertise that you possess and to emphasize how it can help your person achieve their dream outcome. When telling your story, be specific about the outcome you achieved and how it transformed your life. Describe how your newfound expertise helped you overcome obstacles and achieve success, and highlight the specific benefits that you experienced as a result. This helps build credibility and authority in the eyes of your person and increases the trust in your ability to help them achieve their own goals. Finally, remember to not only focus on your external transformation as a result of achieving the desired outcome, but also on the internal one. Share how attaining your goal transformed your inner world. See, no one wants six-pack abs or money or women. They want the confidence, status, and satisfaction they'll experience as a result. Ultimately, your person wants to achieve their goal in order to feel a certain way, and revealing how that happened for you can help you establish a deeper connection with them. The final stage of the hero's journey framework is called the return with the elixir. This is the stage where the hero returns to the ordinary world, armed with the knowledge and the experience gained from their journey, and is able to share the elixir or boon with others. In the context of writing sales copy, this is the point where you have successfully overcome your challenges and you've achieved the outcome that your person desires. You now have the knowledge and experience to help them, and you are here to offer them the solution to their problem. In essence, you are Prometheus bringing fire to mankind. This is the point where you can introduce your solution as the answer to their struggles. By sharing your own journey and how you have arrived at this point, you have established credibility and trust with your person. They can see that you have been where they are and you've successfully navigated the challenges they're facing. The return with the elixir is also an opportunity to inspire and motivate your person. By sharing your story and how you overcame your challenges, you can show them it's indeed possible to achieve their desired outcome. You offer them hope and a clear path forward. Now that you've told your story using the Hero's Journey framework, next you want to briefly present your solution. Don't go into teaching mode. Instead, focus on the big picture and share the big key or few keys that make your solution work. Then move on to dismantling any misconceptions your person may have regarding how to solve their problem. Again, you don't want to get stuck in teaching mode. Instead, focus on tearing down your person's limiting beliefs and pointing them toward the right direction, highlighting your unique solution. Next, it's time to introduce the offer you've created in order to help your person. Briefly tell them what it is, who it's for and who it's not for, and what the next steps are. If the next step in your funnel is a sales call, you don't want to spill the details of your program, including the price. In that case, your goal is not to sell the program, your goal is to sell the next step, which is the call. Focus on outlining the general framework and highlighting the benefits of the call, such as the consultative, risk-free nature of it and the clarity it can provide them with regarding how they can solve their problem. Next, create scarcity and urgency. Scarcity and urgency can be powerful motivators for potential clients to take action. This can be achieved by highlighting limited spots available, a deadline for enrollment, or a special offer that is only available for a limited time. By creating a sense of urgency, you encourage your person to take action now rather than later, which can increase the likelihood of them booking a call or converting into a paying client. Next, feature testimonials. Testimonials from past clients are an effective way to build trust and credibility with your prospect. By sharing stories and feedback from those who have worked with you in the past, you can demonstrate the value and effectiveness of your solution. Next, use future pacing. Future pacing is a powerful strategy used in sales copy to create a sense of anticipation in the mind of your person. It involves painting a vivid picture of the future benefits that your solution will provide them with and helping them visualize how their life would be transformed by using it. By tapping into the emotions and desires of your person, future pacing can help you encourage them to take action. Finally, a clear call to action is crucial for guiding your person toward the next step in the process. Whether it's signing up for a call or enrolling in your program, make sure your CTA is specific, actionable, and easy to follow. And there you go. You now have the script for your conversion mechanism. We've already covered the technical details behind creating a high-quality video in case you're going with a VSL. So go ahead and create your TSL, VSL, or webinar. Once you've done so, it's time to set up the funnel pages. First, you need to decide what platform you'll build your funnels on. Honestly, they're all mostly the same. GHL, ClickFunnels Classic, System.io, WordPress or something else, they're all great options and they copy each other's features. Again, it's more about what's on the pages. It's more about whether your message resonates with your person. It's not so much about what platform your funnel is created on. Next, decide whether you're gonna hire someone to create your funnel or whether you're gonna do it yourself. All of these platforms offer a drag and drop feature and they're quite intuitive, but then again, delegation can save you a lot of time and an expert can create a great funnel for you. You can hire a freelancer on Upwork. Next, based on what we've discussed earlier, decide whether you're gonna have an opt-in page or not. Honestly, if you have the budget, you should probably split test. When it comes to the opt-in page, think minimalistic. All it needs to do is say who it's for, what it is, and what benefits it offers, and then get them to submit their contact info to get access. Make sure there's no navigation menu on any of your funnel pages. The only option should be to continue to the next step, otherwise you'll be creating leaks in your funnel. If you go with a VSL, you can host it on Vimeo or Wistia. For calendar bookings, you can use Calendly, Schedule Once, or another solution that you can embed on your scheduling page. And finally, I suggest you film a video for your thank you page where you thank your prospects for booking a call, tell them what to expect, and feature testimonials to hype them up for the call and improve your show-up rate. And that's it. Now get started with your Ascension funnel. The purpose of the acquisition funnel is not to generate immediate income. Its role is to attract and convert your person into a paying client while breaking even or achieving a slight profit. Once you've acquired them as a client, you can ascend them into your higher priced programs through your Ascension aka backend funnels, and that's where you can generate significant profits. By focusing on the lifetime value of each client, you can build a sustainable business that provides value to your clients and helps you achieve your financial goals. Remember, only build an acquisition funnel after you've built your Ascension funnel. Once successfully established, your acquisition funnels will generate all the leads your business needs to scale to 5, 6, and even 7-figure months. But the reality is, front-end funnels are relatively harder and more complex to build compared to back-end funnels, and you likely need funds in order to run ads to your front end, get feedback, and optimize it to a point where it's at least hitting break even. I may sound like a broken record, but you also need to have your person, their problem, and the perfect positioning for yourself and your offer figured out. Unless you already have a lot of experience in your niche or you're a talented marketer, the way you're going to gather this crucial information is by jumping on sales calls and by working with your clients. In your conversations with them, you gain clarity regarding who you're speaking to, what exactly they're struggling with, and what messaging resonates with them. Once you have your person, problem, and positioning figured out, you're ready to build your front end. Next, we'll cover the mechanics behind an acquisition funnel. Front-end funnels typically involve selling a low-ticket product priced between $2.99 and $49, sometimes up to $99. You will aim to sell a significant number of these products, so the fulfillment process must be automatable, meaning it should not require any significant manual labor. Books and ebooks, audio programs, video courses, templates, and software are all viable options. In order to drive traffic to your front-end funnel in a scalable, predictable manner, you need to buy media on platforms such as Facebook and Google and others. Advertising can be costly. In order to cover this expense and make the math work, in addition to your main product, you most likely need to offer 3 or more other products that will be a part of your front-end funnel. A certain percentage of people will buy one or more of these products in addition to your main product. This helps increase your average order value or AOV, which is the amount a client spends within your funnel on average. Your acquisition funnel's AOV needs to be equal or greater than your cost per acquisition or CPA, which is the amount you need to spend to acquire a single client on average. Once you reach this point, you can acquire as many clients as you want because the revenue you generate from them will pay for the ads you use to acquire them. Anything you sell to them after that will be pure profit. The additional offers you likely need to include within your acquisition funnel are at least 1 order bump and 2 one-time offer upsells. The order bump is a small additional offer presented at the time of checkout, while the one-time offers or upsells are more significant offers presented right after the initial purchase, each one on a dedicated page. By strategically placing these offers, you increase your average order value and further offset your advertising costs. If this doesn't do the trick and you've already gone through the process of optimizing the conversion rate of these additional offers, you can try different products or add downsells or a third upsell. Note that you probably don't want to include more than 3 upsells, as doing so tends to anger clients and destroy goodwill. It's crucial to avoid this because your ultimate goal is to ascend these clients into your higher ticket programs later on, which will be difficult if they hate your guts. Now that you understand the mechanics behind the front end, it's time to get to work on building it. First, you need to create a low-ticket core product that hooks your person's attention and promises to help them fix their problem through your unique solution. Your core product can take the form of an ebook, audio program, video course, template, or software. I like books and ebooks because they're skimmable, and there's also the assumption that the author has structured their thoughts on the subject particularly well inside a book. This gives books a high perceived value relative to their typically low cost, which usually ranges between $2.99 and $11.99. Books also instantly position you as an authority, which can help build trust with your target audience and increase the likelihood that they will purchase your higher priced products and services in the future. On the flip side, books are not easy to write. If you choose to write a book, begin by crafting a compelling title and subtitle and then create a detailed outline before delving into writing the actual content. Once you have your outline, start writing each chapter without worrying too much about it being perfect. Many people struggle with writer's block. The key to overcoming it is to do your research and then to keep pushing through each chapter in your outline and writing whatever comes to mind. After you've finished a rough first draft, you can add additional information and rewrite each chapter to improve the quality of your work. This is where the real magic happens. After completing your first draft, you may consider hiring a professional editor to review your work or utilize an artificial intelligence service such as ChatGPT to help you with editing. Alternatively, you can hire a ghostwriter to create the entire book for you. However, it's important to ensure that the writer is well briefed on your person, problem, positioning, and unique solution so that they can accurately describe your ideas and write the book in your voice. To give you an example, in the fitness coaching business I used to run, my core front-end product was an ebook titled Burn the Fat, the 4 Key Eating and Workout Habits for a Lean Athletic Body. The title and subtitle effectively conveyed 3 key pieces of information: who it's for, what it helps them achieve, and the unique mechanism that will help them reach their fitness goals. I initially priced the ebook at 560 BGN, which is around 3 USD, but I later increased the price to 760 BGN, which is around 5 USD, and surprisingly there was no drop in the conversion rate. This highlights the importance of split testing prices later on to test for price elasticity and maximize your average order value. While books are a great option for front-end products, it's important to note that they are not the only viable option. Audio programs and video courses can also be effective front-end products, and they offer some unique advantages. One of the advantages of an audio program is that it can be consumed while doing other activities such as driving or exercising. This makes it a convenient option for people who are always on the go. Video courses, on the other hand, offer a more immersive and engaging experience. They allow you to demonstrate exercises, provide visual aids, and showcase your expertise in a more dynamic way. Therefore, depending on your niche and your person's preferences and lifestyle, an audio program or a video course may be more suitable than an ebook. Another advantage of audio programs and video courses is that they have a higher perceived value compared to books, which means you can price them higher. This can be beneficial for you as it may allow you to increase your average order value. Another option for your core offer is templates. People love stuff that saves them time and effort, so templates can be a great core offer. Finally, you can sell software as your core product. Software allows for customization of fulfillment at scale, which adds a unique value proposition to your offering, making it easier to command a higher price point than with a book, audio program, or video course. If you get the angle right, you can price your software as a low-ticket item on the higher end of the range while maintaining a high conversion rate. An excellent example of this is a fitness company I worked with, Lazar Angelov's Custom Diet Plan, which is a software that generated nutrition plans for users once they completed a quiz. The software personalized the diet plans for each user based on their individual needs and preferences. This unique angle combined with the customization element allowed for the core product to be priced at $39 while still achieving a high conversion rate. Ultimately, the choice of whether to offer a book, audio program, video course, templates, or software as your front-end product will depend on your niche, your audience, and your personal preferences. Regardless of which option you choose, the key is to ensure that your product addresses your person's problem and provides a clear solution through unique positioning. Here I should add a quick note on pricing your core product. Generally, the lower the price of your product, the higher your conversion rate will be. The caveat here is obviously price elasticity. In markets with high elasticity, increasing the price may not decrease the conversion rate as much. Ultimately, you need to test different prices for your core product to see what works best. One last thing to keep in mind is that if more people buy your core product, more people are presented with your one-time offers and upsells. Thus, depending on how well your upsells convert, you might want to have a lower price for your main product so that you can drive more people to those upsells. Remember, the end goal is to maximize your average order value so that you can offset your advertising costs. When it comes to writing the sales copy and creating your acquisition funnel, there are a few things to keep in mind. You'll primarily be driving cold traffic to your front-end funnel. These are people who do not know, like, or trust you yet, so everything needs to be airtight. You can use the framework I shared with you in the Ascension Funnel module to write your copy, or you can hire a copywriter to do it for you. You can create your funnel in any of the software solutions we've already covered, such as GHL, ClickFunnels, or something else. Just make sure the load speed is good and it offers the functionality to add order bumps and one-time upsell offers. Now that we're clear on the core offer, let's discuss the order bump. I like Russell Brunson's analogy for describing an order bump. According to him, it's the online equivalent to shopping at a grocery store, where at checkout the cashier asks if you would like to add some candy that's on sale to your order. On the web page, the order bump is placed right before the order button after the payment information form, and when checked, it adds the order bump product to your client's order seamlessly, increasing your average order value. For order bumps to be successful, the products should complement the core product the client is purchasing. In the fitness coaching business I used to run, for example, the order bump to my fat loss ebook was a video course called Movie Star Abs, where I taught people how to develop the iconic Hollywood six-pack. For a better conversion rate, you should mention that the order bump product is heavily discounted and that it is only available on that page as an add-on to the core product. Next, let's discuss upsells and one-time offers. A one-time offer, also known as an OTO, is a special offer that someone receives right after they fill in their billing information and click the purchase button on your checkout page. It's a time-sensitive offer that is only available at that moment and only on that dedicated page. Once the person navigates away from the page, the offer is gone forever. The scarcity of this offer creates a sense of urgency that can significantly improve its conversion rate. When creating the OTO pages, toward the top of each page, make sure to communicate that the purchase process is not yet complete. You do not want to close the buying loop, as that will kill conversions. Instead, thank your newly acquired client for choosing to purchase your core product and remind them why they made the right decision. Then, tell them why they should also add your upsell product or service to their order. The purchase button on this page should charge them when clicked, and this should be indicated clearly. This is called a one-click upsell, and most software solutions for funnel creation support this feature. The No button should lead them to the next funnel step. Products that are likely to be successful one-time offer upsells typically do not offer more of the same, unless you're in e-commerce where offering bulk deals as an upsell does work well. Instead, as a coaching business, you have two options. The first option is to offer products or services that make solving the problem easier or quicker. For example, when I was in the fitness niche and I was selling fat loss courses, as an upsell, I offered personalized coaching to help people avoid trial and error and get in shape as quickly as possible. The second option is to offer products or services that help your client with the next problem they're likely to encounter on their journey. See, after solving one problem, another will inevitably arise. For instance, if you were in the dating niche and you were selling a course on how to get over breakups, once you've helped people get over their breakup, they will eventually face the challenge of finding the right person to date. Therefore, you could offer an upsell product or service that teaches them how to find the right partner or what to look for so that their next relationship doesn't end the same way as the last one did. Keep in mind, your upsell can also be a continuity program. Also known as a subscription program, it is a way to offer a product or service on a recurring basis, typically with automatic renewal and regular billing. If done right, this will help raise your customer lifetime value or LTV, since people stick for multiple billing periods. To be successful, your continuity program needs to offer consistent value. Examples include content subscriptions, monthly deliveries of a physical product such as supplements or beauty items, or access to an online service or software. Once your person goes through your upsell and downsell sequence, they land on a thank you page. The thank you page is a crucial part of your funnel because it is where you fulfill your promise of giving your client access to their order. The thank you page can also be used to ascend your newly acquired clients to your higher ticket programs. You can use this page to feature a free bonus training such as a video or a webinar that helps your person with their problem. At the end of this marketing piece, you can invite them to sign up for a free consultation call where you can pitch your higher ticket programs to those who are a good fit. Once you've created the products and pages we've discussed so far, your acquisition funnel will be assembled. So now that you know how acquisition funnels work, next we'll start creating your first one. I do not want you to get stuck here, so make sure you have a working ascension funnel first and make sure that you've went through the rest of the program content before commencing work on your first acquisition funnel. Without further ado, the first step to creating your acquisition funnel is to decide what the format of your core product will be. Use what we discussed earlier to make that decision. Keep in mind, with the low-ticket product, the scope of the product doesn't need to be the entire transformation. It can be a piece of it or one major milestone. Just make sure it's something truly compelling. The success of the entire acquisition funnel depends on the core product because if its conversion rate isn't high enough, people won't reach the upsell either and your AOV likely won't be high enough to reach break-even with paid traffic. Once you've decided what the core product will be, create it. To do that, you can use the same framework we used when creating your coaching program by breaking down the journey from the current state to the desired result in steps and covering those steps in your product. Once the product is ready, create the sales page and checkout page for it. With that, your minimum viable acquisition funnel will be ready. See, if the core offer flops, the entire funnel flops. We don't want to go through the trouble of creating all the upsell products and pages just for them to never be seen because the core product flopped. This is why first we want to test the core offer with paid traffic. I obviously can't give you specific numbers without seeing your entire funnel, but if the conversion rate of your core offer seems to be in the vicinity of something that would bring you to break even when you add upsells, then you can proceed with creating an order bump and up to 3 upsells or downsells and testing them with ads too. As very general guidelines, first, the conversion rate of low-ticket order bumps and upsells will be between 10 and 30%. Consider including a relatively pricier upsell somewhere toward the end of the sequence. Even if a small percentage of people take it, it will bump your AOV significantly. Some people are hot buyers and they will purchase everything in your upsell sequence, which helps a lot with covering your ad costs. Once you've created the entire funnel, it's time to perform conversion rate optimization. Analyze the conversion rate of each step and identify bottlenecks to focus on. Do split tests with alternative elements, pages, and even products to maximize your AOV. Acquisition funnels are rarely static structures. What usually happens is you get it to break even and it runs like that for a while, generating free buyer leads for your business that you can ascend to your higher ticket coaching programs. Then periodically acquisition costs increase and you perform conversion rate optimization to improve AOV further so that you can be back to break even. At some point there comes a time when you try everything but you just can't seem to make it work. That's when you might create a new acquisition funnel and then repeat the cycle. As we've established, one crucial element of your indoctrination and conversion processes is publishing free content on organic channels. Many coaching businesses make the mistake of thinking they can pick between organic and paid traffic strategies and only do one or the other. Nowadays, things just don't work that way. See, as a coaching business, your prospects are primarily found on social media platforms. These platforms make their money by showing ads from businesses like yours to their user base. Nowadays, organic reach is relatively limited and organic strategies require a significant time investment, so paid ads are necessary in order to scale on command. But at the same time, today paid traffic is more expensive than ever because ad platforms are based on auctions and there are more advertisers bidding for the attention of users than ever. This makes achieving a positive return on ad spend challenging. In reality, the businesses that are winning in today's hyper-competitive environment do a combination of organic and paid marketing. The reason for this is simple. There is synergy between organic and paid strategies. 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 10. Paid ads give you scalable, targeted reach on command and help you convert prospects, while organic strategies help you build a brand and a following, indoctrinate prospects, and increase conversion rates and customer lifetime value. Often people will enter your world through an ad, then binge your organic content for a while, and then decide to work with you. This is why you want to do both paid and organic. In this module, we'll cover organic content, and in another module, we'll cover paid ads. Organic content helps educate prospects while getting them to like and trust you. This involves sharing value and teaching on the logical level while simultaneously challenging any negative or limiting beliefs they may have on an emotional or subconscious level and suggesting positive and empowering replacements that support their desire to solve their problem with your products and services. This is what your content piece is aimed to achieve, including your free content like text, image, and video posts, but also your low-ticket paid content like ebooks, courses, etc. Of course, in this module, we're going to focus on free content. Free content helps you generate organic traffic. Organic traffic refers to the people who enter your funnels through non-paid media. There are multiple reasons why you should publish free content on organic channels on a regular, consistent basis. Firstly, it does help increase your reach and build your audience to an extent. By consistently sharing valuable and relevant content, you can attract new followers and keep your existing ones engaged. This ultimately leads to an increase in brand awareness, website traffic, and clients. In addition, publishing content on organic channels can help you better understand your target audience and refine your messaging. By testing different hooks and analyzing engagement metrics, you can gain insight into what resonates with your audience and adjust your messaging accordingly. Then you can use the best hooks and messaging in your paid ads. Another important aspect of content marketing is its role in indoctrinating and retaining your audience. By consistently delivering value-driven content, you can establish yourself as an authority in your industry and build trust with your audience. This leads to increased conversion rates, client loyalty, as well as word-of-mouth referrals. Content is the lifeblood of your business in the digital age where consumers are constantly bombarded with information and advertising. Now, don't worry. You do not need to be everywhere. Creating and publishing content on organic channels is crucial for building an audience and getting more clients. However, each platform has its own nuances and requires tailored content to ensure success. This is why, if you're a solopreneur, I suggest you focus on 1 or 2 platforms at most and repost on the other major ones. As you grow your business and hire a team, you can expand your marketing efforts and post tailored content on multiple channels. When selecting which platform to focus on, consider where your target audience spends their time, your natural strengths, and your personal preferences. First, you need to make sure your person spends time on the platform of your choice. If they're not there, there's no point in pouring your efforts there. Second, play to your strengths. If you're good at writing, write blogs, newsletters, social media posts, and so on. If you're good at audio, start a podcast. If you're good at video, do YouTube, Instagram Reels, TikTok, etc. While the particular platforms may change over time, the fundamental principles remain the same. Finally, pick a platform you enjoy creating content for. Usually, this will coincide with your natural strengths. However, if you like a certain medium but you're not good at it yet, you can get good with practice. It's important to pick the platform you like the most because if you hate it, you won't be consistent with it long term. And the key to successful content marketing is consistency. To build a strong relationship with your audience, it's essential to consistently produce quality content. Your person gets to know, like, and trust you by consuming your content over time. This is especially crucial in the coaching space, where your perceived expertise and authority are essential to building a business that's successful. At first, consistently producing content may seem daunting, but it's a crucial part of your marketing strategy. As you become more experienced and establish systems, the process will become easier and more enjoyable. Additionally, delegating tasks to others can help you save time, a topic we'll cover later on. So what should you create content about? To successfully sell your higher ticket coaching programs, it's important to establish yourself as an expert in your field. If you already have expertise, then showcasing it through content creation can help you build credibility and trust with your audience. On the other hand, if you're still on the path to becoming an expert, documenting your journey can be just as valuable. Creating content about what you're learning or who you're learning from and doing interviews can help provide insight and value to your audience while also helping you solidify your own knowledge. It's important to create content that you're passionate about and that aligns with your values. This will make it easier to consistently produce pieces that resonate with your audience. Your content should mainly aim to provide value to your audience. Avoid being overly promotional. While it's important to make sales, focusing solely on pitching in your content can turn off potential clients. Instead, focus on providing educational content that your people can benefit from. This way, you'll build goodwill with your audience. This will help attract and retain clients who are interested in what you have to offer. A good gift-to-ask ratio is 4:1 or 5:1 at least. For every post where you make an ask, aka ask people to buy something or work with you, have at least 4 or 5 posts where you simply share value and insights. So where do you drive organic traffic when you do make an ask? Well, your organic content is essentially doing with free traffic what an acquisition funnel does with paid traffic. As people consume your free content, you're basically indoctrinating them at no profit and trying to ascend them to your higher ticket programs where you make your money. This is why usually I like to send organic traffic directly to a back-end funnel. Of course, once you know the conversion rate and the average order value of your front-end funnels and back-end funnels and the ascension rate from the former to the latter, you can make the decision of where to drive your organic traffic based on real-world data. Now that you know why it's important to consistently publish organic content, let's start implementing by setting up your content system and calendar. First, using what you've learned so far, pick your format, whether it be video, audio, or text. Then, pick your main platform. For short form, some good choices provided your target market is there are Facebook, in which case post not only on a business page but also on your personal profile as well as in a free Facebook group, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. For long form, your choices mainly include Medium for text, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube for podcasts, and YouTube for long form videos. After this, commit to a publishing schedule. For platforms that feature short form posts, once per day is a solid place to start. For platforms that feature long form content, like long form YouTube videos for example, once or twice per week is a good place to start. If you do long form video or podcast with video, I strongly suggest you also use a tool like Opus Clip to cut your long videos into multiple shorts that you can schedule on various social channels daily. I'll link to a tutorial I made on Opus. Obviously, the more often you post, the better, but commit to a realistic publishing schedule and stick with it. Next, it's time to come up with the topics of your posts for the next month. If you've decided to do long form, depending on whether you start with 1 or 2 content pieces per week, you have to create a total of 4 or 8 content pieces for the upcoming 4 weeks. If you've decided to do short form, then you need to post daily and come up with 6 content pieces per week for 4 weeks for a total of 24 posts. Why 6 and not 7? Well, 1 day per week you make an ask and invite people to work with you or pitch a lead magnet, product or service, but we'll get to that. Now, pause the video and come up with the topics for your content pieces for the next 4 weeks. Especially with long-form content, I like to stay fairly educational. Cover strategies, tips, insights, mistakes, and tools related to the transformation you help people achieve within your coaching business. With short form, you can also share opinions and rants as long as they're still relevant to your target market. Once you've come up with topics, choose one day of the week when you make an ask. The ask can be as simple as a good old 5-1-30 post that says, for example, I'm looking for 5 people in my target market who want to get one specific result in the next X period of time. Drop the word results in the comments and I'll send you all the details. For example, I'm looking for 5 ambitious business coaches making over 8K a month who want to scale to 6-figure months in the next 6 to 12 months. Drop the word scale in the comments and I'll send you all the details. From there, you can message those who commented and invite them to a sales call. You can also say you're starting a pilot program and you're looking for 5 participants from your target market to test it out by leaving a comment. Again, you'd invite them to a sales call. You can also invite them to comment for a lead magnet. For example, I just shot a video sharing 3 mistakes education businesses make with paid ads that are preventing them from scaling to 7 figures. Drop the word video and I'll send it over to you. From there, you can send them to a VSL with the 3 mistakes that is really an ascension funnel where the next step is a sales call. These ask posts would go on platforms like Facebook, IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, and your email list. With long-form platforms like YouTube, you can add them in the description of videos or in the comments and feature the pitch at the end of every video you publish. Once you've come up with the topics and schedule, it's time to create the content pieces. In terms of workflow, you can choose to create content daily or you can create the content for the week in bulk, once per week, and use a tool like Buffer to schedule it on multiple platforms. Email and SMS represent another important component of your indoctrination and conversion processes. Once people have ended up on your email list, to keep them engaged and build lasting, profitable relationships with them, it's important to continue sending them value-driven emails on an ongoing basis. This includes giving value through helpful tips, stories, and insights related to your niche, as well as making asks where you invite people to work with you or consume a conversion mechanism, for example, a VSL that leads to a sales call. To do this, simply use the content that you're already creating per the organic content module at the same frequency. By doing that, email will help you create highly profitable, long-lasting relationships with your prospects and clients. Another challenge you'll face when building your marketing system is bridging the gap between client acquisition and ascension. Acquiring a client is just the first step in building a profitable relationship. To build lasting relationships with clients, you need to provide them with a clear path forward and create a sense of trust. This is where email and SMS come in. Email and SMS help you progress prospects and low-ticket buyers to your higher-ticket offers. By using email and SMS automations, you can ascend your clients from your front-end funnels to your back-end offers like clockwork. This process involves sending a sequence of automated emails to those who have purchased your low-ticket products, those who have signed up for a lead magnet, or those who have abandoned their cart. There are many frameworks that work, but usually these sequences are comprised of daily emails, 5 to 7 emails per sequence in total. The framework I use most often to promote an offer is the following. The first email is a problem-aware state email. In it, I talk about the issues people in the problem-aware state are experiencing and the related pain points, fears, and frustrations. Then I simply imply I have a possible solution and I link to the landing page for the product or service, or I tell them to reply so that I can invite them to a sales call. The second email is once again a problem awareness state email where I dig deeper into their pain points, fears, and frustrations and widen the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Then I again simply imply I have the possible solution and I link to the landing page or tell them to reply. The third email talks about why I created the product or service that I'm about to sell them. In it, I tell a story to transition from talking about the problem to talking about the solution I have. Then again, I simply imply I have a possible solution and I link to the landing page or tell them to reply. The fourth email is social proof and testimonials. I share success stories and proof that the product or service works. Then I give a call to action again. The fifth email is about why and how my product or service is better than other alternatives. Here I discuss the old way versus the new way, which is of course my way. Then I give a call to action again. The sixth email tells them they're about to miss out and does an offer stack where I tell them everything they're going to get when they purchase, and then I give a CTA again. And the seventh email is an urgency and scarcity email that tells them it's the last chance to get access because spots are almost filled up or some other true reason, and I include a risk reversal by offering a guarantee, all followed again by a call to action. I'll make sure to include plenty of examples and swipes for you. Now let's move on to implementation. If you have an ascension funnel built that has an opt-in, create a 5 to 7 day email sequence that gets people to consume your conversion mechanism and schedule a call. People who schedule a call should be excluded from the sequence. You can do that by connecting your scheduling software with your email service provider, tagging people once they schedule a call, and creating an automation that removes them from the sequence. If you also have an acquisition funnel, set up another email sequence that sends low-ticket buyers to your ascension funnel. If you have a two-step checkout where you first collect emails, set up an abandoned cart sequence for those who don't complete their purchase. If you don't position the upsells within your acquisition funnel as one-time upsells, you can also set up an email sequence that gets people who only purchase the core product to buy the upsells as well. When it comes to SMS, they're used pretty much the same way, but only sparingly. You want to use SMS only when it's really important to get the person to the next step, so we usually use it to get people to finish their purchase or to get people to show up for calls. Conversions happen in conversations. This is why learning how to set appointments by chat or sell by chat is an invaluable skill. There are two scenarios where you can end up in a chat: inbound and outbound. First, we're going to cover inbound and then outbound. If you're implementing what you've learned in the organic content module in your publishing value and ask posts, you're going to start generating chat opportunities from people commenting on your ask posts, requesting lead magnets, requesting help. These are your inbound chat opportunities. The framework you're going to follow with these people is confirm, open, qualify, assess, and invite. The first step is to confirm their interest. For example, when someone comments under a post where you offer a lead magnet, you're going to direct message them something along the following lines. Hi, you asked for a copy of my free training on ... Do you still want it? Or if in the first question when joining your free Facebook group they said they need help with lead generation, for example, you're going to ask something along the following lines. When joining the group, you said you need help with lead generation. Is it okay if I send you our best training on that? I think it's gonna help you a lot. Why do we ask them instead of just sending over a link? Well, if we just send over a link, they'll click the link, close the chat, and the conversation is over. Instead, we want to start a conversation, so we ask them if they still want the thing. If they say yes, we send them the link and move on to the next step, which is open. We want to open a conversation with them, so we ask them a fairly general question related to their niche. For example, if we work with business coaches, we ask them, what clients do you work with? Or if we work with people who are looking to lose weight, we might ask them, what's your current diet like? All we want to do is open a conversation. If they reply, we might text 1 or 2 lines back and forth. You want this to feel like a chat, not like prospecting. On that note, each of your messages is sent as a new line just like you would text with a friend. You don't want to send big blocks of text as that feels unnatural. Then we move on to the next step, which is qualify. We want to see if they're a good fit for us. So we ask them a qualifying question. For example, what's your current monthly revenue and where would you like to be? Or how happy are you with your current monthly revenue from 1 to 10, or whatever qualifications they need to pass to be a good fit for your business. Again, engage in a bit of back and forth, and you can also ask 1 or 2 additional qualifying questions. Then move on to the next step by assessing their challenges. You do this by asking them what they're currently trying in order to fix their problem and achieve the desired result, and what they think their biggest challenges are. Once they answer, we can also optionally offer to send them free big picture training on how to solve these obstacles if you have any. Over time, as you create content, you'll start accumulating answers to all the questions and issues your prospects might be facing. After that, we move on to the final step, which is invite. You simply ask them, would you like to see how we normally help people in your target market achieve your desired result by unique mechanism or without unwanted stuff? For example, would you like to see how we normally help coaches who are making 10K a month organically scale to $100,000 per month with paid ads? And if they say yes, invite them to a free no-pressure consultation call and explain that on the call you go over what they've tried, what their challenges are, and then you come up with a plan to help them achieve their desired result. If they say yes, one option is to send them a calendar link, but that lets them off the hook a bit, so another way is to ask them if they're available today or tomorrow, wait for their reply, and then give them two options for times, ask them for their email, and schedule the call for them with their email. And that's it for inbound. Now let's talk about outbound for those of you who want to do more aggressive prospecting. As you create content per the organic content module and as you run ads and reach prospects across social media channels, many of them will follow you or like your posts, but they won't necessarily comment to request access to a lead magnet or ask to work with you. In these cases, you have semi-warm prospects that might or might not be interested in you and your business. All you need to do is message these people who engage with your accounts or content, something along the lines of, hey, first name, thanks for following, or thanks for the like. If by looking at their profile you can see that they're in your target market, you can simply say on a new line, I see that you're a ... I'd love to send you my free training on ... Would that be okay? For example, I see you're a fitness coach. I'd love to send you my free training on how fitness coaches are booking 20 to 30 appointments per week with this new paid ad strategy. Would that be okay? If you can't tell if they're in your target market by looking at their profile, simply ask them if they are. Are you by any chance a ... For example, are you by any chance a fitness coach? If they say yes, again tell them, I'd love to send you my free training on ... Would that be okay? And then simply use the framework we covered earlier to continue the chat. And that's basically it for outbound. As a closing thought, both when it comes to inbound and outbound, your job in the appointment setting stage is to simply assess prospects and only invite those who are qualified to the next step. For them to be a good fit, they need to be willing to talk to you, they need to be friendly, they need to be qualified, and they need to be interested in getting help. Anyone who doesn't fit that description should not reach the sales call stage. You don't get points for scheduling calls with unqualified prospects. You only want people who are truly a good fit to reach the sales call stage, otherwise you're just wasting your time or your salespeople's time. While your traffic generation efforts should include publishing organic content consistently, in order to get reach and scale on command, you should also have a paid advertising strategy. Why do you need paid ads? Firstly, because organic reach on its own is limited, often unpredictable, and requires a significant time investment. In order to scale predictably, you need to start trading money for reach. While paid ads come at a significant monetary cost, they require a relatively small time investment, which makes them scalable as long as they're profitable. Another reason why paid ads are awesome is because they can help you get feedback quickly, allowing you to gather data about key performance indicators like your funnel's conversion rate, average order value, and cost per acquisition. This data can then be used to refine your funnel and improve your overall return on investment or ROI, both from paid ads and from organic traffic. Once you have a solid foundation in place, paid ads can act as an accelerant to a fire. By increasing your ad spend, you can increase the number of clients you acquire with minimal additional effort. This allows you to quickly scale to 6 and even 7-figure months. A lot of businesses are scared of paid ads either because they haven't tried them and they think they're super complicated, or because they've tried them but they've had bad results and they've lost money. Trust me, once you crack paid acquisition and your ads make you money on command, you will love them. So how do paid ads work? Ad platforms allow you to bid for the attention of users of social media platforms, search engines, and audience networks. Facebook ads, Google ads, and other similar ad platforms are based on auctions where the cost of ads for different audience segments, which is usually measured as CPM or cost per thousand impressions, is mainly a function of supply and demand for the attention of the users. So what platforms should you advertise on? Well, this depends on where your people hang out, your budget, what the offer you advertise is, the available targeting options, and what your creative capabilities are, among other factors. First, it's crucial to identify the platforms where your target audience spends their time. While there are various social media and search engine platforms out there, at this time Meta ads, including Facebook and Instagram ads, and Google ads, specifically YouTube ads, which are a part of Google, are the two best choices for coaching businesses due to their mass usage, the data they have, their sophisticated algorithms, and the user-friendly ad setup. In 99% of cases, Meta ads and YouTube ads can help you reach your target market, and they're effective channels to get people to take action. However, it's worth noting that different platforms have different pros and cons. As you expand your advertising efforts to other platforms, keep in mind that you may need to tweak your ad strategy to align with each platform's unique features and audience demographics. Ultimately, your goal is to find the most effective channels for your business and allocate your ad spend accordingly. By testing and experimenting on different platforms, you can gain a better understanding of where your person is most receptive to your message and optimize your ad campaigns for maximum return on ad spend, or ROAS. Another factor in determining where to advertise is your budget. As of now, I advise people to have a minimum ad budget of $1,500 per month per ad channel per offer. So if your entire budget is $1,500 a month, you want to pick one channel and one offer instead of spreading it over 2 or 3. This is because ad platforms like Meta and Google use machine learning to optimize ad delivery, so you need to buy enough impressions to give the algorithm enough data to work with. The third factor in determining where to advertise is what your offer or funnel is. For example, if you're promoting a webinar, it might make sense to keep the medium of communication the same, in other words, video, so you might choose to advertise on YouTube with video ads instead of on Meta with images. The next factor is the targeting capabilities of the platform. Meta ads offer one set of targeting options while Google ads offer another, so you need to choose the platform that allows you to target your ideal clients most accurately. And finally, where you choose to advertise depends on your creative capabilities. For example, to advertise effectively on YouTube, you need to be able to produce a good video ad. On the other hand, on Meta you can not only use video but also simple still images as ad creatives. Now let's go over basic paid advertising strategy. Media buying typically involves categorizing ad campaigns based on the stage of the buyer journey each targeted segment of the audience is in. As we've discussed elsewhere, the buyer journey is a framework that describes the process a prospect goes through when making a purchase decision, from unawareness to problem awareness to solution awareness and all the way to decision on who to work with. In the context of media buying, we divide campaigns into 4 categories that roughly coincide with the different stages of the buyer journey. Top of funnel or TOF, middle of funnel or MOF, bottom of funnel or BOF, and campaigns targeting existing customers. Top of funnel campaigns generally aim to target people in the awareness stage where they are just becoming aware of their problem or need. At this stage, they are not yet ready to make a high-ticket purchase but are seeking information and education. Free content and paid content, in other words low-ticket offers, targeted toward top-of-funnel audiences should provide educational and indoctrinational resources and build brand awareness. As a side note, this does not mean you should use the brand awareness campaign objective for this purpose. We're still optimizing for conversions most of the time, but we'll cover this later. Middle of funnel represents the consideration stage where potential clients have identified their problem or need and are evaluating potential solutions. At this stage, they are actively researching and comparing different products or services. Content targeted toward middle of funnel audiences should focus on providing more detailed information and addressing common objections or concerns. Bottom of funnel represents the decision stage where potential clients are ready to make a purchase decision. At this stage, they are looking for validation and reassurance that they are making the right choice. Content targeted toward bottom of funnel audiences should focus on providing proof, testimonials, and clear call to actions and incentives to encourage the purchase. Finally, we have campaigns targeting existing customers. After a client makes a purchase, it is important to continue to nurture the relationship and to encourage ascension and repeat business. The goal is to turn satisfied clients into repeat buyers and into loyal brand advocates who ascend into your higher ticket programs and promote your brand to others. Content targeted toward this stage should focus on providing exceptional client service, personalized recommendations, and exclusive offers or promotions to encourage loyalty and advocacy. Now, in technical media buying terms, top of funnel refers to people who have not yet engaged with your on-platform brand assets, for example, your ads, Facebook page, Instagram account, YouTube channel, etc. Middle of funnel refers to people who have engaged with your on-platform assets, for example, by liking a post, watching a video, following you, leaving a comment, but who have not yet visited your website. Bottom of funnel refers to people who have visited your website or seen your offer but have not yet made a purchase, while existing clients are those who have made a purchase from you in the past. You can set up campaigns targeting people in each of these stages within online advertising platforms like Meta and Google. It's important to test campaigns for each of these audiences over time. However, if you're already getting significant organic traffic, you can start with bottom-of-funnel campaigns to encourage people to return and complete their purchase. Hot audiences yield high returns, so they're the best place to start. If you're not getting any significant organic traffic, or if you've already launched a bottom-of-funnel campaign and it's performing well, you can also launch top-of-funnel ads to bring in people who are not yet familiar with your brand. Once your middle-of-funnel and existing client audiences are large enough to be retargeted, you can launch ads to them too, tailoring your messaging and offers to each stage of the funnel. By creating campaigns that speak directly to these various audience segments and their needs, you can increase the likelihood of driving conversions and growing your client base. When it comes to budget allocation for each stage, every business is a bit different, but in general, if you only run top of funnel and bottom of funnel campaigns in the beginning, then I'd put 65 to 80% toward top of funnel and the rest toward bottom of funnel. If you also have campaigns specifically targeting middle of funnel and existing clients respectively, I'd give top of funnel 60% of the budget, middle of funnel 10%, bottom of funnel 20%, and existing clients the remaining 10%. Of course, these are just very general guidelines to start with. If you have significant organic traffic or data that suggests one of these segments is doing significantly better or worse, then the allocation will be different, so keep that in mind. Next, let's discuss top of funnel advertising strategy. To drive traffic to your funnels effectively, you must regularly test ad variations for your top of funnel audiences. This process will assist you in combating ad fatigue. Ad fatigue occurs when an audience becomes exhausted or uninterested in an ad after being exposed to it multiple times. This can result in lower click-through rates and conversions as the audience becomes less receptive to the message, so you want to test new ad variations and creative angles regularly. In addition, by analyzing the performance of different ad creatives, copy, and targeting options, you can gain valuable insights into what works best for your target market. Some strategies to consider when testing top-of-funnel ads include split testing different ad formats such as image versus video ads, testing different ad copy variations, and trying out different targeting options to reach the right audience. When doing tests, the number one rule is that there must only be one variable per test. Everything else must be the same so that you can attribute the difference in results to that variable. By continually testing and optimizing your top-of-funnel campaigns, you can improve your overall media buying strategy and drive more high-converting traffic to your funnels at a lower cost. Now let's discuss retargeting your bottom of funnel traffic and your existing clients to convert and ascend them. Bottom of funnel and existing clients are highly valuable audiences in terms of return on investment, as they have already shown interest in your brand by visiting your website, initiating checkout, or making a purchase. Retargeting these audiences with ads can be very effective in converting them into paying clients or ascending them into your higher ticket products and services, since they already like and trust you. It's important to retarget bottom of funnel audiences with ads and send them to your front end and back end funnels. This allows you to continue to indoctrinate them with free and paid content and eventually convert them into paying clients. Existing clients, on the other hand, are already familiar with your brand and have purchased from you before. If what you offer is any good, they should be satisfied, meaning they're now more likely to buy from you again. Retargeting them with ads and sending them to your back-end funnels is a great way to continue building the relationship and to offer them even more value through your higher ticket programs. Remember that when retargeting these audiences, you need to tailor your messaging and offers to their specific stage, needs, and interests. This can help increase the effectiveness of your ads and ultimately drive more conversions. Now let's discuss the secret to successful, sustainable media buying. Paid ads can help you scale your business to the next level. The trick is they require constant optimization or performance quickly takes a dip, especially on social media platforms. As discussed, one of the reasons for this is people start seeing the same ads multiple times, which can lead to ad fatigue, causing the ad's effectiveness to drop over time. Therefore, to maintain your campaign's performance, it is essential to continuously test new ads to find winners that can replace the old ones that have lost their effectiveness. By regularly testing new ads and targeting strategies, you can stay ahead of ad fatigue and continue to drive conversions and revenue while helping more people transform their lives for the better. Beyond that, you need to find a way to stay emotionally unaffected and objective and resist the urge to change random stuff if your ads don't work within the first day or two, or if they take a dip for a day or two. Every time you make a change, you reset the machine learning process, so making changes too often can screw up ad performance. You need to give the algorithm enough time to optimize delivery. For Meta ads, this usually means 3 to 7 days per ad, and for YouTube around 7 days. Now let's talk tracking. In order for Meta, Google, and other ad platforms to know that someone reached your landing page, opted in, or made a purchase once they landed on your website, these platforms provide you with a snippet of code called a pixel, dataset, or tag that you set up on your site. This code should fire on every single page of your website and funnels. In addition, these platforms provide you with action-specific codes that should only fire on page load or button click when a user performs a specific action. On Meta, these are called standard events, which are standard, and custom conversions, which are, you guessed it, custom. On Google, these are called conversion actions. One example is the lead standard event on Facebook that should fire on the page users land on right after they submit their contact info on an opt-in page. The equivalent of the Facebook lead event on Google is the sign-up conversion action. So different names, but same idea. When an event, custom conversion, or conversion action fires, that data is sent back to the ad platform, which in turn matches the action with the user and attributes it to the ad set, or ad group and campaign they clicked or viewed. You can install all these codes through native integrations between ad platforms in your website or funnel building software solution, or you can use a so-called tag management system like Google Tag Manager, which gives you one single piece of code to install on your website that you can use to inject all the other codes we mentioned earlier. This helps with page load speed too. We'll cover how to set up your tracking in another module. Importantly, ad platforms support limited attribution windows within which they can attribute actions that the user takes on your site to ads. As of now, Meta's maximum attribution window is 7 days, while Google's is 30 days. This means that depending on your tracking settings, once someone views or clicks an ad, an action can be attributed only within that window. So if someone clicks a Facebook ad and then buys 8 days after clicking your ad, or if they click a Google ad and buy 31 days after clicking your ad, then these platforms cannot attribute those actions. If you're spending under 10K per month on ads, I wouldn't worry about it too much. However, if you're spending more than that, one way to overcome these tracking issues and also be able to attribute actions to users across channels, email addresses, and devices over months and even years is to use a third-party tracking solution like Hyros. In terms of implementation, these third-party tools are pretty similar to app platforms. They give you a piece of code to install on your website, and then you can configure action tracking and so on. Now that you understand how paid ads work, let's move on to implementation. First, I want you to decide the amount of your monthly advertising budget. I'll give you 3 tips here. First, you should start with one channel and one offer. Second, the minimum is $1,500 per month. And third, throwing money at the problem rarely fixes it, so if you're flexible on budget, generally I would start with between $3,000 and $5,000 per month, but no more. Once you see good results or at least good mid-funnel metrics, you can increase it. So decide on your monthly ad budget now. Next, choose which platform you advertise on. As discussed, this depends on where your people hang out, your budget, what the offer you advertise is, the available targeting options, and what your creative capabilities are. For most coaching businesses, either Meta ads or YouTube ads should suffice, so just do your research to see if your target market is there. Also, if you have a large Facebook or Instagram page, it makes sense to go with Meta ads, while if you have a big YouTube channel, it makes sense to go with YouTube ads so that you can retarget your audience. So do your research and choose one ad platform. In the next modules, we'll cover both the Meta Ads platform where you can run Facebook and Instagram ads and the Google Ads platform where you can run YouTube ads so that you can learn how to set up your ads on your platform of choice. In order for Meta, Google, and other ad platforms to know that someone reached your landing page, opted in, or made a purchase once they landed on your website, these platforms provide you with a snippet of code called a pixel, dataset, or tag that you set up on your site. This code fires on every single page of your website and funnels and feeds back data to the ad platform. In addition, these platforms provide you with action-specific codes that should only fire on page load or button click when a user performs a specific action. On Meta, these are called standard events, which are standard, and custom conversions, which are, you guessed it, custom. On Google, these are called conversion actions. One example is the lead standard event on Facebook that should fire on the page users land on right after they submit their contact info on an opt-in page. The equivalent of the Facebook lead event is Google's sign-up conversion action. Different names, same idea. When an event, custom conversion, or conversion action fires, that data is sent back to the ad platform, which in turn matches the action with the user and attributes it to the ad they clicked or viewed. If a native integration between these platforms and your website or funnel building software is available, which is highly likely, you can and should use it to install tracking through it without touching code. Your native integrations will probably install both web and server-side tracking. If there's no such integration available for the website and funnel building software you use, the easier route is to use a free tag management system like Google Tag Manager, which gives you one single piece of code to install on your website that you can use to inject all the other codes we mentioned earlier. In the remainder of this video, I'll show you how to do that for Meta ads and Google ads. The process is the same or very similar for all other ad platforms. Keep in mind your funnel pages need to be ready before proceeding. The first step is to visit tagmanager.google.com and create a free account and a new container. Input your desired account name, which can be your brand name. Input your country, your desired container name, which can be your funnel or related offers name, and choose web under target platform. In this guide, we'll just do web because it's quick and simple, and in the future we can add server-side tracking for higher accuracy and reliability. Once you've created your GTM account and container, you can visit the same address and click on the container's name to enter the container whenever you need to. In the top right corner, click on your GTM tag, which should start with GTM dash and the remainder of the tag. This will open the GTM tags code with installation instructions. Pretty much all funnel building softwares have fields where you can input code that would go in the head tag and body tag of each page respectively, and if you're using WordPress, there are plugins that install your GTM tag for you, so do a quick search for your funnel builder's name and find a place where you can add this code and then save your changes. This will install the GTM tag on all pages of your funnel. Once this is done, you can add tags within your container and the GTM tag will inject them wherever you choose within your funnel. Next, we'll cover Meta Ads and Google Ads tracking setup. Before we begin, keep in mind that the layout of these platforms gets updated every now and again, so things might not look exactly the same way on your end, but the way they work is pretty consistent, so you'll find your way around. Now let's cover Meta first and then Google. Meta allows you to create a so-called pixel or a dataset, which is a piece of code that you install on every page of your website and funnels so that it feeds the platform data about what users are doing there. Visit business.facebook.com/settings. If you don't have a Meta business account, create one. If you do, choose it. Your business account contains your advertising assets, including pixels and datasets, ad accounts, Facebook pages, and Instagram accounts. Once you're in business settings, go to Data Sources and click on Datasets. Click Add and create a new dataset. Click on Connected Assets and connect it to your ad account. If you don't have one yet, go to Ad Accounts within Business Settings and create one. To find your dataset's base code whenever you need it, choose your dataset, click Open in Events Manager, click Add Events, choose Add New Integration, choose Metapixel, choose Manually Add Code to your website, and copy the base code. Then go back to your GTM container, go to Tags, click New, under Tag Configuration choose Custom HTML, paste the base code in the HTML text box, and under Advanced Settings in Tag Firing Priority write the number 2. Then in triggering, add a trigger with the plus icon. The type of trigger should be page view and should fire on all page views. Name it All Pages and save everything. Then click Submit and publish the container version to push these changes to your site. If you've completed these steps correctly, the Meta Pixel code will fire on all pages of your site. Next, it's time to set up meta events based on your funnel. For Ascension funnels with an opt-in, first you need to set up the lead standard event, which should fire on the page that people are redirected to when they submit their contact info. That would be the sales page where your TSL or VSL is. To do this, go to your GTM container, click Tags and add a new tag. Under Tag Configuration, choose Custom HTML, find Meta's lead event code, which is in the resources I've added to this video, and paste in the HTML text box. Under Advanced Settings and Tag Firing Priority, write the number 1, and under Tag Sequencing, check the option to fire another tag before firing this one. Choose the tag that contains your Meta Pixel, and finally choose the option to not fire this tag if your Meta Pixel tag doesn't fire. Then in triggering, add a trigger with the plus icon. The type of trigger should be page view and should fire on some page views. For conditions, choose page path, choose contains, and enter the page path, meaning the part of the URL of your funnel page where the lead event should fire that comes after the page host name. Usually it's the portion of the URL after the last /. For example, if the URL of your funnel page is xyz.com/VSL-page, you would enter VSL-page. Importantly, make sure the page path of the page that you install events for is unique so that they don't get triggered on pages where they shouldn't. Once all of that is done, publish your changes so that they take effect. If your Ascension funnel doesn't have an opt-in page, you can skip the lead event. The next page of your Ascension funnel should be a call scheduling page with an embedded calendar. Here you can follow the same steps that we discussed for the Meta Lead event in order to install a Meta View Content event that fires when someone lands on this page. Simply use the View Content event code instead of the lead event code and the appropriate page path. Don't forget to publish your changes. Once someone schedules a call, your call scheduling software should immediately redirect them to your thank you page where you need to install a schedule event. Simply follow the same steps described for lead event installation, but use the schedule event code and the appropriate page path. Again, remember to publish the container version. If you have a checkout page where people can enter their billing info and purchase access to what you offer, install the Initiate Checkout event on that page using the same steps we've covered. Keep in mind, the Initiate Checkout has 2 additional parameters, value and currency. Make sure to set them by inputting a numerical value and a 3-digit currency code in the appropriate places. Publish the container version. Then install the purchase event on the page people are redirected to once they purchase. Again, don't forget the value and currency parameters and make sure to publish the changes. If you have an acquisition funnel with an order bump, things are a bit trickier. Ideally, if the order bump is added to the order, its value would be included in the purchase event value parameter that fires on the next page, but there's no simple way to do this, so you can forego this or hire a developer to help out. You can do the same regarding upsells within an acquisition funnel or use the following GTM workaround. Each upsell presents the user with 2 buttons, a button that accepts the upsell and a button that declines it. You need to trigger a new purchase event when someone clicks each button that accepts each upsell offer. To do this, you can edit the text of the button to something unique that's not found anywhere else on your site so that you can use it as a trigger. After this, go to your GTM container, click Variables, navigate to Built-in Variables and click Configure, scroll down to Clicks and check Click Text. Then go to tags, add a new tag, go through the tag configuration to set up a purchase event along with its value and currency, just like the last step. Then go to triggering, add a new trigger, click trigger configuration, and under click choose all elements. Then choose some clicks. For conditions, choose click text equals, and then add the exact unique text you've used on the accept button of the specific upsell you're setting up tracking for. Then publish your changes to push them to the site. Repeat this for all your upsell accept buttons. With this, your meta web tracking is almost complete. Finally, what you want to do is test to see if your pixel and events are firing correctly. To do this, visit your business manager, go to your dataset, click open in Events Manager, click Test Events, choose confirm your website's events are set up correctly, enter your domain URL and click open. This will open the URL in another tab where you can navigate your site. Go back to the Events Manager tab and check if a page view event fired. Unlike Google, in Meta, a page view event should fire on every single page of your website along with your pixel, and this means the pixel is firing. If it doesn't, your pixel isn't installed correctly, so you need to go back through the steps and make sure it is. Once your pixel is firing, in the tab that was opened by Meta, visit each of your funnel pages where an event should fire and check the Events Manager tab to see if an event actually fires one by one. Troubleshoot until they all work. Once that's done, congratulations, you can now run Meta ads to your site and they will be tracked correctly. Now let's set up Google Ads tracking. First, we'll install your Google tag, which is the equivalent of the Meta pixel or dataset. If you don't have a Google Ads account, go to ads.google.com and create one. Then visit ads.google.com/aw/tag settings, choose your ad account, click Manage on your Google tag, click your Google tag again, and copy the tag ID. Then go back to your GTM container, go to tags, click new, under tag configuration, search for and choose Google tag, paste your tag ID, and under advanced settings in tag firing priority, write the number 2. Then in triggering, add a trigger with the plus icon. The type of trigger should be page view and should fire on all page views. Name it all pages and save everything. Then click Submit and publish the container version to push these changes to your funnel or site. If you've completed these steps correctly, the Google tag code will fire on all pages of your site. Next, you need to set up a conversion linker tag. To do this, go to your GTM container and create a new tag. In tag configuration, search for conversion linker and choose it. Check enable linking on all page URLs and also check enable linking across domains in case your funnel spans across multiple domains. In that case, input them. Then go to triggering, choose all pages, save everything and publish it. Next, it's time to set up Google conversion actions based on your funnel. For Ascension funnels with an opt-in, first you need to set up a sign-up which should fire on the page that people are redirected to when they submit their contact info. That would be the sales page where your TSO or VSO is. To do this, go to your Google Ads account, click Tools and Settings, and from Measurements, choose Conversions. Click Create a new conversion action, choose Website, enter your URL, then scroll down and choose Add a conversion action manually. Under Go and Action Optimization, choose Sign Up and set it to primary action used for bidding optimization. Give it a name. Under Value, choose Don't use a value for this one. Under Count, choose 1 and click. Then under Tag Setup, choose GTM and you'll see this conversion actions, conversion ID and conversion label. Keep this tab open. Open another tab and go to your GTM container, click Tags and add a new tag. Under Tag Configuration, choose Google Ads Conversion Tracking, copy and paste the conversion ID and conversion label. Under Advanced Settings in Tag Firing Priority, write the number 1. Then in triggering, add a trigger with the plus icon. The type of trigger should be page view and should fire on some page views. For conditions, choose page path, choose contains and enter the page path. Same process as the one we discussed for Meta Ads tracking setup. Remember to publish your changes for them to take effect. If your Ascension funnel doesn't have an opt-in page, you can again skip the sign-up conversion action event. The next page of your Ascension funnel should again be a call scheduling page with an embedded calendar. Here you can follow the same steps that we discussed for the sign-up conversion action in order to create and install a page view conversion action that fires when someone lands on this page. Unlike the MetaPixel, the Google tag does not automatically fire a page view conversion action on every page. Again, publish the container version when done. Once someone schedules a call, your call scheduling software should redirect them to your thank you page where you need to install a book appointment conversion action. Again, simply follow the same steps described for the sign-up conversion action. If you have a checkout page where people can enter their billing info and purchase access to what you offer, install the begin checkout conversion action on that page using the same steps we've covered. Keep in mind, begin checkout can have a value and currency parameters that you can input when creating the conversion action and the GTM tag for it. Make sure to set them. Then install the purchase conversion action on the page people are redirected to once they purchase. Again, don't forget the value and currency parameters, and when creating the conversion action in your Google Ads account, make sure to choose count every click or interaction so that every purchase is counted. If you have an acquisition funnel with an order bump, things are again a bit trickier. Ideally, if the order bump is added to the order, its value would be included in the purchase conversion action value parameter that fires on the next page, but there's no simple way to do this, so you can again forego this or hire a developer to help out. You can do the same regarding upsells within an acquisition funnel or use the GTM workaround I already showed you when discussing Meta Ads tracking, where you can use the button text of the button accepting the upsell as a trigger for each purchase tag for each conversion action. So refer back to that, everything else is the same. With this, the Google Web tracking for your funnel is almost complete. Again, what you want to do is test to see if your tag conversion linker and conversion actions are firing. To do this, visit tagassistant.google.com, enter your domain URL and click the button. This will open the URL in another window where you can navigate your site. Go back to the Tag Assistant window, choose your GTM container and check if your Google tag fired. It should fire on every single page of your website. If it doesn't, your tag isn't installed correctly, so you need to go back through the steps and make sure it is. Same for your conversion linker tag. After that, in the window that was opened, visit each of your funnel pages where conversion action should fire and check the Tag Assistant window to see if a conversion action actually fires. Again, do this one by one and troubleshoot until they all work. Once that's done, congratulations, you can now run Google Ads to your site and they'll be tracked correctly. Meta has 3.2 billion daily active users across their core products Facebook, Instagram, Messenger and WhatsApp, and their ad platform has one of the most advanced algorithms when it comes to finding high-intent prospects for your offers. This is why Meta is a great place to focus your advertising efforts as a coaching business. In a previous module, we've already covered how to create a Meta business account and an ad account and how to set up ad tracking, so go through that module first if you haven't. In this module, you will learn how to set up your Meta ads. Meta ad accounts are divided into 3 levels: campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Campaigns contain ad sets and ad sets contain ads. Let's start with creating a top-of-funnel campaign that's going to target people who have not visited your site or offer yet. When creating a new campaign, on the campaign level you can choose the buying type, which in our case will be auction, and you can choose the campaign objective. For your Ascension funnels, use leads, and for your acquisition funnels, use sales as campaign objective. Next, choose manual setup. On the campaign level, you have the option to toggle Advantage Campaign Budget on or off. If it's on, you set the daily budget on the campaign level and Meta's algorithm distributes it between the active ad sets inside, however it sees fit to get the best performance. If it's off, you set the daily budget on the ad set level, meaning each ad set has a dedicated budget. Since audiences are set and tested on the ad set level, some people like to turn off Advantage Campaign Budget and give each audience they're testing inside a campaign a dedicated budget in order to get data and decide what to do based on the results. Others like to set the budget on the campaign level and let the algorithm decide where to allocate more ad spend. The algorithm is quite advanced, so I often opt in for the second option, especially with accounts that I've been running for a while, where I know what numbers to expect. Both are fine options. I just advise you to choose one and run with it for every campaign within your account, because it will make the account's management a lot easier workflow-wise, since you'll be able to set all the budgets on either the campaign level or on the ad set level view, instead of some on one and the others on the other. Leave the budget set to daily budget and input your chosen amount. If you're starting off with the minimum monthly ad budget that I recommend, which is $1,500 per month right now, and you haven't had significant traffic to your website, then for the first 1 or 2 weeks you can put 100% of your budget toward your top of funnel campaign, after which you can relocate 20% of it to a bottom of funnel campaign that retargets website visitors. If you have a higher monthly budget, I usually test audiences with between $50 and $100 per day, so pick a number and go with it. Leave the campaign bid strategy to the default one for test campaigns. When you're trying to scale, you can test cost per result goals or bid caps to keep the cost per acquisition as low as possible. Finally, name your campaign. I use the following naming conventions. First, I write the name of the offer or landing page, then I write the stage of the funnel, for example TOF, then I write the target location, for example US, then I write the campaign objective, for example sales, and then optionally I write a short description of the targeting, for example lookalike. Then move on to the ad set level settings. Here's where you choose a conversion location. Choose website. Under performance goal, leave the default one. Under pixel, choose yours. Under conversion event, you need to choose the conversion event you want this ad set to optimize for. This will get Meta's algorithm to try to find you people who perform these specific actions. Officially, according to Meta, you need around 50 conversion events of your chosen type per week in order for Meta's algorithm to sufficiently optimize for it and exit the so-called learning phase. Honestly, I've seen better results by ignoring this advice for Meta ads specifically and optimizing for events further down the funnel, for example schedule or purchase. Otherwise, when you optimize for traffic or leads, Meta is very good at finding people who like to click ads and opt in for stuff but who don't really buy. That being said, you can test this for yourself. If you're setting up a leads campaign for an Ascension funnel that has an opt-in page and you've gone through the tracking setup module, you can choose to optimize for leads, view content, or schedule. If yours doesn't have an opt-in page and you've gone through the module, you'd have the latter two events installed. Again, with Ascension funnels in particular, I'm not a big fan of optimizing Meta ads for the lead event. Instead, I'd rather optimize for schedule or sometimes for view content if you have it installed on the scheduling page. If you're setting up a sales campaign for an acquisition funnel, optimize for purchase. Leave the attribution settings to the default ones. I recommend leaving dynamic creative off. We'll go through a process of testing ad elements ourselves so that we can clearly see the data and attribute changes to performance to these different elements. Under audience, switch to the original audience options. Next, you need to decide who to target. Choose the location or locations where you advertise. Next, choose the age range. Here I'd err on the side of more broad. Finally, choose the gender. When it comes to top-of-funnel campaigns, you can either target via detailed targeting including demographics, interests, and behaviors, or you can target lookalike audiences. You can also do a combination, but I usually don't recommend it, at least in the beginning. Let's cover lookalikes first. They are audiences of people most similar to the ones you input as a source. You can create an effective lookalike audience if you have an existing email list of at least 500 to 1,000 people who bought from you, signed up for a sales call, or are qualified leads. If you have such a list, from the left side menu, choose All Tools and open Audiences in a new tab. Click Create Audience, first choose Custom Audience, choose Customer List, then go through the instructions on preparing your list, upload it, match the columns, and finish the process. Then click Create Audience again, this time choose Lookalike Audience. Under Select Lookalike Source, choose the custom audience you just created by uploading your list, choose the audience location where you'll be advertising, then choose one or however many lookalike audiences you want to create. I suggest starting with 1. Finally, choose a percentage. I suggest going with the lowest possible percentage that still gets you over 500,000 people in your lookalike audience so that it contains the people most like the people on your list. Then click Create. After this, go back to your Facebook Ads tab and choose your newly created lookalike audience under Custom Audiences. Again, if you use a lookalike, I suggest not setting any detailed targeting in that ad set. Now let's cover detailed targeting options. They include demographics, interests, and behaviors. Here you need to use the research you've done on your target market and find available demographic, interest-based or behavior-based targeting options that would allow you to target your people by using the search and browse functions. Here in most cases I suggest picking only one demographic, interest or behavior per ad set. This will allow you to compare the performance of your chosen detailed targeting options. If you were to add a couple of them within the same ad set, you wouldn't be able to know how each one performed separately because you'd only see the aggregated results of the ad set. Finally, whenever possible, you want your estimated audience size on the right to be over 500,000 or at least over 250,000 people, both if you're using a lookalike or a detailed targeting option. If it's smaller, in most cases you want to broaden it so that it reaches these numbers to give Meta's algorithm a big enough pool of people. You want to turn off advantage detailed targeting, which turns on by default if you use detailed targeting. If left on, it broadens the audience by including additional targeting, which again means you see aggregated data and you also won't know what the additional targeting was. In terms of placements, as of now I generally recommend editing them, so choose manual. Remove audience network and remove Facebook right column under feeds. These generally don't produce good results. You can leave the rest of the settings on the ad set level as they are. In terms of ad set naming conventions, I like to include location, age range, gender, lookalike or detailed targeting, conversion event the ad set is optimized for, and any other relevant info that might be different from ad set to ad set. Let's move on to the ad level. In terms of ad naming conventions, I like to include the landing page, the name of the creative, and the name of the copy. Let's cover creative and copy. The creative is the imagery or video within the ad, and it is one of the main things that stops a person's thumb when scrolling through the feed and gets them to click your ad, so your advertising success heavily depends on the creatives you use. In terms of requirements, each creative should have a square version for feed placements, meaning a 1:1 ratio or 1080p by 1080p, and a vertical version for stories and reels, meaning a 9:16 ratio or 1080p by 1920p. There are also ad policies regarding creatives and ad copy that you should adhere to. I'll link to them in the resources. In terms of format, both still images and videos can do well. It really depends on your target market and on your offer, so you need to test both. In terms of content, you need to get to know your target market in order to understand what creative angles would work with them, but generally using imagery that showcases the results thereafter works, before and afters work, comparisons and the old way versus the new way work. Talking head videos also work if you have a good script. It really helps if your ad doesn't look like an ad. People click away or scroll past ads because they perceive them as value-taking. The best ads don't look like ads, they look like organic posts. Another thing to keep in mind is Meta's algorithm can tell what's on the image or video, and it loves people as well as animals, nature and positivity. Yes, it can even detect emotions in people's faces, so use them in your creative and you'll be rewarded with more reach at a cheaper cost. In the resources, I'll add a breakdown of a Meta ad that helped me generate over 1,000 low-ticket purchases, including a breakdown of the creative and the copy, as well as other good ads and creatives to draw inspiration from. In terms of copy, both short form and long form can work if they're good. Beyond that, you need to test to see what works better for your audience. Next, in the ad setup process, you need to choose the Facebook page and Instagram account you advertise through. If you don't have them ready, go to business settings at business.facebook.com/settings, choose your business account. Under accounts on the left side menu, choose pages, click add and create a new page. Then go to Instagram accounts, click add and go through the steps to connect your existing Instagram account or create a new one and connect it here. Once you've chosen your Facebook page and Instagram account, within the ad setup process, under Add Creative from the Media drop-down, choose to add an image or a video, upload it and crop or resize it if necessary. Then add one primary text and one headline. You can leave description empty. For call to action, most of the time I use Learn More. Under Destination, input your landing page URL and website URL. Under Tracking, make sure Website Events is checked and your pixel is active. Under URL parameters, you can optionally input the parameters how sharing the resources to this module if you plan on using Google Analytics to analyze your website traffic. And that's it. At this point, your ad would be set up. Now that you know how to set up a meta campaign, ad set, and ad, let's discuss how to manage your account as a whole. If you're starting out with a limited budget of $1,500 a month, I'd start with 100% of that put toward a top-of-funnel campaign with 1 or 2 ad sets inside, targeting by interests, demographics, or a lookalike. In 2 weeks' time, I'd relocate 20% of that budget toward a bottom-of-funnel campaign, retargeting website visitors in the last 30 days. To create this campaign, simply follow the same steps but visit Audiences, create a new custom audience, choose Website, choose your pixel, under Events choose All Website Visitors, Audience Retention 30 days, name the audience and create it. Then go back to Ads Manager and choose it on the ad set level under Custom Audience in the Audience section. In that case, go back to your top-of-funnel campaigns, go to the ad set level, under Custom Audiences, add an exclusion and exclude your website visitors audience so that your top-of-funnel campaigns don't target people in it. Within each ad set, start with 3 or 4 ads featuring the same copy but different creatives. I suggest you test both still images and video creatives in the beginning. Once you have a winning creative, you can test different headlines and primary texts for it. A common question is when to pause an ad. The columns you want to look at when analyzing ad performance mainly include amount spent, impressions, results, cost per result, ROAS, link CTR, link CPC, and CPM. As per Meta's guidelines, I usually give an ad 8,000 impressions before making a call on whether to pause or leave it on for another 8,000. If once it has 8,000 impressions, performance isn't anywhere near where you need it in terms of ROAS, cost per result, or whatever KPI you track, then pause it. If it's closed, then give it another 4,000 to 8,000 impressions and then make the call. In terms of audiences, since they're set at the ad set level, I give an ad set around 24,000 impressions before making a decision to pause it. This way I can test several creatives before coming to the conclusion that the problem is in the targeting and not in the creative. Regarding metrics like CTR, CPC, and CPM, for different markets and businesses, these numbers will be different, but with time you'll notice what the benchmarks are for your business for each of these numbers and you'll be able to use them to analyze ad performance. Whenever the CTR of an ad is low relative to your benchmarks, the problem is in the creative or copy. More rarely, it might also be the audience. Whenever the CPM is high compared to your benchmarks, you need to look at frequency to check for ad fatigue and at your audience composition or size. In terms of scaling up ad spend when what you're doing is getting good results, you can scale vertically and horizontally. Vertical scaling means increasing the budget of campaigns or ad sets that perform well. Generally, I increase by 10 to 20% every other day so that I don't disrupt performance. Sadly, making too big of a change often kills performance. Horizontal scaling means taking the winning ad and duplicating it into new campaigns or ad sets with their own budget and different targeting. For example, a new or different lookalike or a new or different detailed targeting option. Finally, once you have multiple campaigns or ad sets with dedicated budgets within your account, every other day you can relocate 10 to 20% of the budget from the low-performing ones toward the high-performing ones. Do what we've discussed in this module and you'll be ahead of 95% of people in the advertising game. YouTube, which is owned by Google, is the second largest search engine with over 2.5 billion logged in users per month and over 1 billion hours of video watched on the platform each day. It is another great place to focus your advertising efforts as a coaching business. In a previous module, we've already covered how to create a Google Ads account and how to set up ad tracking, so go through that module first if you haven't. If you don't have a YouTube channel, go to youtube.com and create one. Then visit your Google Ads account at ads.google.com, go to Tools and Settings, Setup, Data Manager, click Connect Product, search for YouTube and follow the steps to link your YouTube channel to your ads account. Next, in this module, we will learn how to set up your YouTube ads on the Google Ads platform. Google Ad accounts are divided into 3 main levels: campaigns, ad groups, and ads. Campaigns contain ad groups and ad groups contain ads. There are also campaign groups that can contain campaigns, but I generally don't use them. Let's start with creating a top-of-funnel campaign that's going to target people who have not visited your website or offer yet. When creating a new campaign on the campaign level, you can choose the campaign objective. For your ascension funnels, use leads, and for your acquisition funnels, use sales as campaign objective. Next, you can choose the conversion goals you want Google to optimize the campaign for. For ascension funnels include signups, page view, book appointment, as well as begin checkout and purchase if you have installed them. For acquisition funnels include signups if you have a two-step checkout, most importantly include begin checkout and purchase. Then for campaign type, select video. This is in essence YouTube ads. Choose your desired location or locations and languages. Under bid strategy, in most cases you want to choose target CPA. Maximize conversions, which is automatic bidding, doesn't perform as well as Meta's automatic bidding as of yet, so I prefer target CPA from the get-go. The downside of target CPA is that your campaign might not spend the budget. If this happens, increase the target CPA by 10 to 20% daily until it does. Leave the budget set to daily budget and input your chosen amount. If you're starting off with the minimum monthly ad budget that I recommend, which is $1,500 per month right now, and you haven't had significant traffic to your website, then for the first 1 or 2 weeks you can put 100% of your budget toward your top-of-funnel campaign, after which you can relocate 20% of it to your bottom funnel campaign that retargets website visitors. If you have a higher monthly budget, I usually test audiences with between $50 and $100 per day, so pick a number and go with it. Under additional settings, choose devices, specific targeting for devices, and turn off TV screens and tablets, as people on these devices don't tend to be as receptive. Under frequency capping, choose cap view frequency and write a number between 4 and 7 per month. I find that getting people to view a YouTube ad more than this leads to worsening performance. Finally, name your campaign. I use the following naming conventions. First, I write the name of the offer or landing page, then I write the stage of the funnel, for example TOF, then I write the target location, for example US, then I write the campaign objective, for example sales, then I write the campaign type, for example video, and then I optionally write a short description of the targeting. Leave the rest of the settings on the campaign level to the default ones and move on to the ad group level where you set the audience you target. Click Add Audience and click New Audience. Under Custom Segment, click New Segment. Custom segments allow you to target people with intent or affinity towards specific search terms, interests, purchase intentions, or people who browse websites similar to specific ones you can list. To target a custom segment based on affinity or purchase intention, choose the option People with any of these interests or purchase intentions, and then enter keywords describing your ideal customers' interests or products and services they are actively researching to buy in the text box below. To create a custom segment based on intent, aka search terms, choose the option People who search for any of these terms on Google, and then enter search terms your ideal customer is using on Google. To create a custom segment of people who browse websites similar to specific ones you list, choose any of the two options. You can leave them empty and click Expand the segment. Click Include people who browse types of websites and enter website URLs that your ideal customer might visit. I recommend selecting one custom segment per ad group. This will allow you to compare the performance of your chosen targeting between ad groups. If you were to add a couple of them within the same ad group, you wouldn't be able to know how each one performed because you'd only see the aggregated results of the ad group. Make sure the segment is broad enough. Generally, you want at least 1 to 10 million weekly impressions to be available. At least 0.5 million. Next, under Interests and Detailed Demographics, you have access to more affinity audiences as well as demographic targeting options. If you're in a very niche market, you can use the detailed demographic targeting options to zone in on your ideal client. In terms of the affinity audiences, these are quite broad, so at first you should rely on your custom segments. Once you have a well-performing campaign, you can scale horizontally by duplicating it and using some of these affinity audiences. We'll discuss scaling in a bit. Next, under demographics, choose the gender and the age range. Here I'd err on the side of more broad. If you have strict gender or age range requirements, remove unknown. Under additional demographics, you can choose the household income level. As a coaching business ultimately looking to enroll people in high-ticket programs, your best bet is to remove unknown and set it to top 10 to top 30%. If you have a particularly expensive program, consider setting it to top 10 to top 20% or only top 10%. In terms of ad group naming conventions, I like to include the age range, gender, custom segment, interests, and demographic targeting options, and any other relevant info that might be different from ad group to ad group. Let's move on to the ad level. In terms of ad naming conventions, I like to include the landing page, the name of the creative, and the name of the copy. Let's cover creative and copy. In the case of YouTube ads, the creative is the video used for the ad, and it is the main thing that stops a person in their tracks, gets them to watch, and gets them to click your ad, so your advertising success mostly depends on your videos. In terms of requirements, each video should be horizontal, meaning a 16:9 ratio, and I'd recommend at least 1920p by 1080p, which is Full HD. In other words, there are also Google ad policies regarding creatives and ad copy that you should adhere to. I'll link to them in the resources. In terms of content, you need to know your target market in order to understand what creative angles would work with them, but generally using footage that showcases the results thereafter works to hook their attention, before and after angles work, comparisons, and the old way versus the new way work. Talking head videos also work if you have a good script. It really helps if your ad doesn't look like an ad. People click away or scroll past ads because they perceive them as value-taking. The best ads don't look like ads, they look like organic videos. In the resources, I'll add examples of good video ads to draw inspiration from. In terms of length, 3 to 5 minutes works well. Make sure to add an early CTA somewhere within the first 1 or 2 minutes for those who are ready to click. When it comes to coaching businesses, your ads will probably involve a lot of talking head videos, so the script is essential. One good script structure starts with pattern interrupt, which we've covered how to do, followed by making your marketing claim, showing proof, adding a quick CTA for those who are curious to click already, telling a quick relevant story, discussing your solution and the unique mechanism, adding scarcity and urgency and another CTA, and if you're promoting an acquisition funnel, you can also include elements like a guarantee for risk reversal. During the first CTA, you want to add video effects with text arrows pointing toward the link or button that leads to your landing page, and at the end of each video ad, you want to add a 10-second countdown along with a text CTA and arrows again to direct people and give them time to click. When it comes to the ad setup process, first you need to upload your videos to your YouTube channel. You can set them as unlisted when uploading them. Then you simply input the video URL when creating an ad in a video campaign. Next, in final URL, you input your landing page URL. In display URL, you want to input how you want the URL to look. For call to action, I usually use learn more. You can split test to see what works best for your market. Then add one headline, one long headline, and one description. Review each placement to see what they look like. You don't want part of your copy to be cut out. Under the Add URL options, you can optionally input the parameters I'll share in the resources to this module if you plan on using Google Analytics to analyze your website traffic. And that's it. At this point, your ad would be set up. Now, lastly, for all ad groups, what I'd suggest you do is check each one of them and make sure optimized targeting is turned off. If it's turned on, it allows Google to reach people beyond the targeting you've set, and usually it performs poorly, so you want to turn it off for all ad groups, at least when testing. To check, go to ad groups and check the settings of each ad group. If you're scaling, you might test turning it on in a duplicated campaign. We'll discuss this in a bit. Now that you know how to set up a YouTube ad campaign, ad group, and ad, let's discuss how to manage your account as a whole. If you're starting out with a limited budget of $1,500 a month, I'd start with 100% of that put toward a top-of-funnel campaign with 1 or 2 ad groups inside, targeting by custom segments based on affinity, intent, or people who browse similar websites. In 2 weeks' time, I'd relocate 20% of that budget toward a bottom-of-funnel campaign retargeting website visitors in the last 30 days. To create this campaign, simply follow the same steps but visit Tools and Settings, Shared Library, Audience Manager, create a new audience, choose Website Visitors, as tag source, choose your Google tag, under Segment Members, choose Visitors of Web Pages, under Actions, choose Web Page Visit in the past 30 days, leave Pre-fill enabled, name your audience Website Visitors last 30 days, and create it. Then go back to the campaign setup and choose it on the ad group level. Select your ad group, go to the audience sub-tab and select your website visitors last 30 days audience under your data. In that case, go back to your top of funnel campaigns, go to the ad group level, select them, go to the audience sub-tab, edit the audiences, and under exclusions, exclude website visitors so that your top of funnel campaigns don't target people in it. Within each ad group, start with 3 or 4 ads featuring the same copy but different video creatives. Once you have a winning creative, you can test different headlines, long headlines, and descriptions for it. A common question is when to pause an ad. The columns you want to look at when analyzing your ad performance mainly include cost, impressions, results value, cost per conversion, conversion value divided by cost, aka ROAS, CTR, CPC, and CPM. I usually give an ad 8,000 impressions before making a call on whether to pause or leave it on for another 8,000. If once it has 8,000 impressions, performance isn't anywhere near where you need it in terms of ROAS, cost per result, or whatever KPI you track, then pause it. If it's close, then give it another 4,000 to 8,000 impressions and then make the call. In terms of audiences, since they're set at the ad group level, I give an ad group around 24,000 impressions before making a decision to pause it. This way I can test several creatives before coming to the conclusion that the problem is in the targeting and not in the creative. Regarding metrics like CTR, CPC, and CPM for different markets and businesses, these numbers will be different, but with time you notice what the benchmarks are for your business for each of these numbers, and you'll be able to use them to analyze ad performance. Whenever the CTR of an ad is low relative to your benchmarks, the problem is in the creative or copy. More rarely, it might be in the audience. Whenever the CPM is high compared to your benchmarks, you need to look at frequency to check for ad fatigue and at your audience composition or size. In terms of scaling up ad spend when what you're doing is getting good results, you can scale vertically and horizontally. Vertical scaling means increasing the budget of campaigns or ad groups that perform well. Generally, I increase it by 10 to 20% every other day so that I don't disrupt performance. Making too big of a change may decrease performance. Horizontal scaling means taking the winning ad and duplicating it into new campaigns or ad groups with their own budget and different targeting. For example, a new custom segment. Finally, once you have multiple campaigns or ad sets with dedicated budgets within your account, every other day you can relocate 10 to 20% of the budget from the lower performing ones toward the high performing ones. Do what we discussed in this module and you'll be ahead of 95% of people in the advertising game. Once you've successfully set up paid advertising campaigns and indoctrination and conversion processes within your business, your ascension funnels will be generating a consistent stream of sales calls for you or your sales team. The final component of your paid acquisition system is a proven sales process that helps you predictably close deals on these calls. As someone who's not naturally good at sales nor likes doing it, I can tell you that your best friend here is a proven sales script that you or your team can follow. Standardizing the sales process introduces a level of predictability that helps you improve over time as well as project revenue, enabling you to set advertising budgets and KPI targets more accurately. When doing sales, the main thing you need to remember is that you hold the solution to your prospect's problem, not the other way around. If you've done your job during the previous modules, you have created a coaching program that is at least several times more valuable than the price you charge for it. Your job on the call is to qualify the prospect, widen the gap between their current situation and their desired situation in their mind, and offer them the solution if they're a good fit without being pushy. As Taki Moore says, the reason why you might get pushed back on a sales call is because your prospect feels you pushed first. You're the one with the solution, so don't chase, instead qualify and invite. Now let's get into the script. It is based on Neil Rackham's spin selling methodology, which uses questions to guide the conversation in the right direction instead of pushing toward it. Once your prospect joins the call or once they pick up the phone, you can start off with a little bit of small talk just to lubricate the conversation. For example, ask them where they're located or where they're calling from and optionally riff on that for 30 seconds to a minute. As that topic draws to an end, you need to do something critical. You need to take the leadership position in the conversation. If you're not leading, you cannot sell to them effectively. So tell them, we can get started if you want to. I found that the best way to conduct these calls is to start off by asking you a couple of questions about your business to gain a better understanding of where you're at and what you need. Then, if it sounds like I can help you and we're a good fit, I'll explain what I can do for you. Sounds good? Now, if you're not selling to businesses, replace the word business with whatever is relevant to your niche. Sometimes at this point, prospects will try to steer the conversation elsewhere. Do not allow this to happen. If they ask you a question, tell them, "That's a great question. I need a bit more context about you and your business to give you a proper answer. Is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions first and then we can cover whatever you want to know?" And get them to agree. Again, if you're not leading the conversation, you cannot sell to them effectively, so get them on the same page. Once that's done, move on to the next step, which is figuring out why they're on the call. If your funnel's messaging is such that they come to you with a specific problem, ask them, "So tell me more about the insert their problem here and what you're looking to achieve." If they have not come with a specific problem, you can ask them, "So give me a quick 10,000 feet overview of your business and then tell me a bit about the one or two biggest challenges you're facing right now." Again, if you don't sell to businesses, simply replace the word business with whatever's relevant for your niche. After they answer, ask them a couple of clarifying questions. What do you mean by ... Tell me more about ... Why do you think this problem exists? How long have you been dealing with this problem? What have you tried in order to fix this problem? Next, you want to get a clear picture regarding their current situation by asking more questions. If you sell to businesses, some questions to ask are: what do you sell? What's your pricing? Who is your ideal customer? Why do people buy what you offer? What are they looking to achieve? What is the process or the steps that your prospects go through in order to transition from strangers to paying clients? In other words, what are the steps in your funnel? If you don't sell to businesses, ask them questions relevant to your niche that get them to tell you their current situation or state. Next, you want to start asking questions to qualify them while creating some pain as a side effect by widening the gap between where they are and where they want to be in their minds. Ask them questions like, what's the monthly revenue of your business right now? From 1 to 10, how happy are you with your current income? Next, transition to questions about their goals and get them to do some future projections of how their life will change once they achieve them. Ask them questions like, where do you want to grow this business to in the next 6 to 12 months? What do you want the monthly revenue to be? Why is that your goal? What's your motivation for getting to that amount? How would things be different for your business if you got to that amount? Would getting to that amount have an impact on any other areas of your life? Here, get them to imagine what life would be like once they've achieved their goal. The more specific they get, the better. Just don't be too pushy. Some people will share, even overshare, while others will keep more to themselves, so adjust. The key to not coming off as pushy or having an agenda is to be genuinely curious. They'll be able to feel that. After this, you want to repeat their current situation and their desired situation and ask them why they don't just do it on their own. Tell them, so you're currently at ... and you want to get to ... Is there any reason why you can't do it on your own? Here you're looking for one of two answers. They think they can't do it on their own, or they want to do it faster by removing the trial and error period and following in someone else's steps. If they don't give you one of these answers, you should ask a couple of follow-up questions in the same direction so that they come to one of these two conclusions. This would make the close a lot easier. Next, ask questions that help you dig in the knife and gain commitment. So you're currently at ... Why not just stay where you are? Is not fixing this problem affecting your life in some other way? Then ask them the following questions to gauge the urgency of the issue. In terms of timeline, when are you looking to fix this? Is this a later thing or a now thing? If they say it's a later thing and they're looking to start fixing it in more than 2 weeks from now and it sounds legitimate, I advise you to tell them that in that case you should circle back then. If you were to give them a pitch now and reveal the price, they still wouldn't buy because of the timeline, but they'd now also have time to come up with a million objections, and since you wouldn't have a chance to speak with them, you would most likely lose the sale. Instead, suggest to schedule a call in their calendar and yours for a future date while you're still on this call. This way, the loop stays open and you can pick up the conversation again when they're ready. If they say it's a now thing, ask them, alright, where do you want to go from here? Now, at this point, they've defined their current situation and their desired situation. They're in pain, they've admitted they can't do it on their own, and they want it fixed now. So they'll likely ask you, do you have any suggestions? What can you offer? Can you help me? Or some other question of this sort. Once they do, simply tell them what you do by stating your I help statement. I help person get result by unique mechanism. Make sure to position yourself and your business as the perfect solution for them by speaking to what they've shared with you earlier during the call. Then present your offer in a clear way without going into teaching mode. Focus on the milestones and outcomes they'll achieve, not on the features and how to. Again, be clear and concise. This whole segment of the script should take up to 2 minutes. Once you finish, do not reveal the price. Simply stay silent. At this point, your prospects will start asking questions regarding how your program works so that they can learn what they need to know about it in order to make a decision. Just answer each specific question and shut up. As the saying goes, a confused mind doesn't buy, so this way they can get all the info they need and nothing that they don't, which will prevent them from getting confused. Once they've pieced together your offer in their mind, they're either going to ask for the price or they're going to say they have no more questions or something of that sort. Here you're looking to steer the conversation toward the price, but you don't want to be the one to bring it up. So if they don't ask for the price right away, ask them, where do you want to go from here? At this point, they'll either say they might be interested in working with you and they'll ask for the price, in which case do a bit more digging if they don't ask right away. Or they'll give you some type of objection. For example, I have to think about it. When you get an objection, you want to uncover what it's really about so that you can offer a different point of view. So what you need to do here is to ask questions to uncover their real concern. For example, often if they haven't heard the price but they say they need to think about it, they just don't see the value of your offer. Once you uncover the real concern, you can address it by offering a different point of view. Since they're on the call and you've qualified them, meaning they have a real problem that you can help them with, and since it's a now thing rather than a later thing, all of this means they're in pain and they're actively looking for a solution. You have that solution, so you just need to soothe the logical and emotional parts of their mind. Then you simply ask, where do you want to go from here? And if you've already handled the objection, they'll likely ask for the price. Once they do, simply state it and shut up. For example, the price is $3,500 paid in full or 4 monthly payments of $1,000. Stay silent until they speak. This may take seconds or it may take minutes. If they finally say, what are the next steps, let's do it, or something of that sort, tell them you send them a custom payment link and you stay on the phone to guide them and personally enroll them to make sure they get the access they need and ask them if that's okay. Once they confirm, go ahead and sign them up. If once they hear the price, they only say okay or something of that sort, again ask them, where do you want to go from here? They'll either say, let's do it, in which case sign them up, as we've just discussed, or they'll say, I need to think about it, or some other objection, in which case go through the process of uncovering the real concern and addressing it. Generally, if you don't get a yes while you're on the call, then it's probably going to be a no, so you want to address any and all objections while you're still on the call. And follow up with the question, where do you want to go from here, until you get the yes or no. Finally, remember that no one has a 100% close rate. There are multiple reasons why even a qualified prospect might not give you a yes, so don't beat yourself up over lost deals. Instead, record and analyze your sales calls and try to improve over time. Also, keep a record of all your calls in a sheet or a CRM so that you can track your show-up rate and your close rate over time. It takes a lot of work to scale to 7 figures. Usually, in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, as a bootstrap business owner, you spend a lot of time working in the business to market, sell, and deliver your products and services. At some point, as your business grows, the amount of work that needs to be done increases to a point where it's challenging to get it done by yourself consistently. There's no way around it. It takes people to scale. Therefore, you have to make the emotional adjustment that you need to buy your time back with money by paying other people to do some of the work for you. What I want you to do is list the functions that need to be handled within your business and create an organizational chart, writing down descriptions of the roles that fulfill each function and what each role or position is responsible for. In the beginning, as the founder and operator, your name will be on most, if not all, of the roles. With time, you'll replace your name on each role with an employee's or a contractor's name who's a specialist in fulfilling that function. Importantly, you do not want to overhire. Talent is expensive and it is not easy to manage, so you want to keep your costs under control. Only hire if there's an actual need for it. The sequence in which you delegate business functions is important. A good rule of thumb is to first start with administrative tasks, then service fulfillment or product design and fulfillment, as well as implementation tasks around marketing, then sales, then marketing strategy, and finally executive functions, in other words, high-level decision-making. Administrative tasks are low-skill tasks that eat up your time, but they're nevertheless necessary to keep the business running. This includes billing and invoicing, support, data entry, and other such tasks. Those are the very first tasks you want to get off your plate, and to do that you need to get a virtual assistant who takes over that burden for you and frees up your time. Virtual assistants from the Philippines, India, and Eastern Europe are relatively cheap, so get someone in a time zone that is close to yours. What you want to do is make a list of all administrative tasks you can think of and then hire a VA to help you with them on a part-time or a full-time basis. We'll talk about where to find them in a bit. Next, you want to delegate fulfillment and delivery. Within a coaching business utilizing the one-to-many model, on one hand, this means low-level tasks like technical support and onboarding that your VA can do. On the other hand, it means hiring coaches who can take over the questions in your community and the one-on-one calls if you offer any. They can also take over the Q&A calls, although since they only happen once or twice per week, and they allow you to converse with your people regarding what they're thinking about and struggling with at this moment, I wouldn't rush to get that delegated as it helps with ideation. In terms of the coaching hire, obviously the most important part is to find someone who's qualified. Beyond that, you need someone who's coachable because you need to give them access to your content and get them to adopt your approach in order for them to be able to give input within your framework. Finally, you want someone who is a good communicator since their time will be spent servicing clients. At this stage, you can also hire skilled talent who help you with the implementation of your marketing strategy. These are funnel builders, developers, graphic designers, video editors, media buyers, and others who help you implement your marketing strategy and save you time while providing quality work. After this, it's time to delegate sales. Sales calls are critical to your business, but once they stack up, they're also very time-consuming. So at some point, you need to let go and delegate them to a qualified salesperson or team. This will usually involve paying your sales team a commission of around 10% on what they close. The next two functions to delegate are your marketing strategy and then finally executive functions, aka high-level decision-making. The delegation of these two functions usually happens after you've hit 7 figures, so it's not on the table right now. Obviously, this whole process is not something you can do overnight. It can take months or years, and it takes skill and hard work itself. Then again, consider the opportunity costs. If you don't do this now, the alternative is to stay where you are, overworked and your income capped. So let's get at it. In terms of your hiring options, you can hire full-time or part-time contractors or employees. These two options have their pros and cons. Employees are generally more involved than contractors, but depending on where your business is located in the world, there are different employment and social security laws that make it more risky for you to hire full-time employees. When it comes to full-time versus part-time, full-time contractors or employees are more committed, but obviously you need to have enough work to hand off to make it worth the cost. Generally, my advice is to start off with part-time contractors to test the waters, and as the amount of work you can hand off increases and as your hiring skills improve, you can invite your hirees to take on a full-time position. So where do you find these people? In the context of online coaching businesses like ours, online job boards are the place to start. Upwork and Fiverr have a good talent pool to choose from, both in terms of skill level and breadth of business functions you can hire for. Beyond that, Facebook groups can be another good source of talent. Wherever possible, it makes the most sense to work with talent long term. This is why I suggest you take a long-term approach overall by going through the trouble of shortlisting 3 to 5 people for each function or position you want to hire for. Do an interview call with each one of them to pick out the best person for your needs. When interviewing them, make sure to record the call or at least take detailed notes. Create a spreadsheet with columns for their name, contact info, and columns for each of the most important skills and traits they need to possess to be the right person for the role. After you conduct all the calls, look at the spreadsheet to see who possesses what skills and traits so that you can compare them objectively and make an informed decision. Make sure to keep the contact info of the other shortlisted candidates in case things don't work out with the person you choose. During the interview process, ask them questions regarding location and time zone, availability, role-specific past experience and skill level, and values. Depending on the role, you might want someone who's in a time zone close to yours. Depending on the amount of work you want to hand off, they need to have part-time or full-time availability. Depending on the role and on your budget and needs, they need to have certain qualifications and past experience with whatever you're hiring for, so you want to drill down on the exact things you need them to do for you. Ask them as many questions as necessary to understand if they're qualified. And finally, ask them about their values and character. In general, you want someone who's responsible, honest, trustworthy, and coachable. In order for your business to function properly, there are a lot of tasks that need to be completed regularly in a consistent manner. To ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of your operations, you need to list out all these tasks and create standard operating procedures or SOPs for each one of them. SOPs help standardize the way tasks are completed, leading to consistent outcomes within consistent timelines, and they help talent fulfill their roles effectively and efficiently. They also help onboard new team members, and they help keep them accountable. All of this ultimately leads to a more reliable and predictable client experience, which improves client satisfaction and trust in your business. This, in turn, helps get more word-of-mouth referrals as well as repeat business, improving your AOV, LTV, revenue, and profit. Your SOPs should be categorized by function or department, and they should be named. A SOP needs to include the following elements. First, it needs to state its purpose. By telling your team why it's important, you increase their buy-in and they're more likely to follow it. It also needs to say who's responsible for it. You don't want any ambiguity regarding who's the one who needs to do it, and this helps you keep people accountable as well. Furthermore, you need to define its scope, in other words, to what the particular procedure applies. It needs to say when or under what conditions the procedure needs to be completed, and finally, it needs to include detailed step-by-step instructions on how to complete the procedure. Here's a sample SOP for client onboarding. The SOP title is Client Onboarding Process. The department is Administration. The purpose: ensure a smooth and efficient onboarding process for new clients, providing them with all the necessary information and resources to start their transformation. Scope: this procedure applies to all administrative staff involved in the client onboarding process. Responsibility: administrative staff. Procedure: step number 1, initial contact. Once a new client signs up, send an automated welcome email right after through the company's email service provider, ... The email should include a thank you message, an introduction to the coach and company, and an outline of the next steps, including a link to create their account and set their password in the company's online content portal, as well as a link to sign up for the recurring Q&A calls. Here's the current version of the email, and then list it. Step number 2, payment receipt. Once a new client signs up, send them a separate automated email with their payment receipt by visiting ... and doing ... Here you want to list the exact steps of how they could do it, even if it's automated and they won't be doing it most of the time. Step number 3, Q&A call reminders. Send automated reminder emails for upcoming Q&A calls as per the reminder protocol. Step number 4, feedback collection. After the first 30 days, send the following feedback form to clients to gather their initial impressions and any suggestions for improvement. Review and address feedback to enhance the onboarding experience. And that's it for this example. You want to write your SOPs in active voice and you want to make them clear and concise. You should also have a quality assurance process where you review your SOPs, for example, monthly or quarterly, in order to amend or improve them. Now, as a small business, do not go overboard with procedures. Start small, cover the most important SOPs first, and you'll notice how things in your business will start getting done more efficiently and effectively. At that point, you'll be hooked. Now that you know why SOPs are important and how to create simple, effective ones, list out all the procedures necessary to operate your business and write SOPs for them. You can put your SOPs in a knowledge base as well as in your task management system that we'll cover in the next module. In order to track tasks and make sure everything gets done and on time, the last piece of your streamlined delegation system is a task management system. There are many software solutions you can use for this purpose. I use Asana out of habit, but they all offer more or less the same features. These software solutions allow you and your team members to create individual accounts, set up a workspace with boards that can be divided into sections where you can manage tasks. Tasks can be assigned to a specific person with the option to set a deadline and to assign collaborators who will also get notifications regarding any updates related to the task. Tasks can also be configured to be recurring. You want to give each function or department its own board within your workspace. Then you want to create a section within each board called SOPs and create a task that contains or links to all of your SOPs for that department, as well as the knowledge base. Beyond that, you want to create 3 other sections: to do, in progress, and done. Tasks that need to be completed go in the to do section and they're assigned to a person with a deadline, and you can assign team members, yourself, or a manager as a collaborator. Within the task description, include what needs to be done, why and how, and include any necessary resources as attachments. The person who the task is assigned to moves it to the in progress section manually once they start working on it. While working on the task, they can leave comments inside detailing the progress they've made or in order to communicate with collaborators. Optionally, you can create another section named Stuck, where team members can move tasks where they've encountered serious obstacles that prevent them from moving forward. They can leave a comment tagging you or a manager to ask for help. Once the task is complete, they mark it as such and they move it to the Done section. The neat thing with these software solutions is that team members also get email reminders for task deadlines and updates. Each team member also has a personal tab where they can see all the tasks they've been assigned, which helps keep them organized. Beyond this, you can get fancy with automations that, for example, move tasks from one section to another based on preset conditions, but I suggest you start nice and slow and set up a minimalistic task management system first until you get the hang of it. In terms of team communications, commenting on tasks generally garners the response time of email, so for more urgent matters, I suggest you use a chat app designed for teams, for example Slack. There you can create a workspace with dedicated channels for each department where you can discuss your work via chat. So go over to Asana or your software of choice, create your account and workspace, set it up as we've discussed, and invite your team members. Then go over to Slack, create your account and workspace there, and set up channels where you and your team members can communicate quicker with one another.